Oh boy, it's time for the glorious, the impossible Plaguebearer Max tournament. Now, general Plaguebearers are not the worst of the worst, but this is what was requested of me to try and go for Plaguebearers. We're doing a slightly different tournament format today, by the way. It's going to be a pick and ban format. Top bracket picks one faction. They ban one map out of the three. Bottom player counter picks with 3 different factions and bans another map. So there's just one map remaining. And then the top player will get to choose which out of the 3 factions to play against. So no need to SFT declare or anything. You just go, and then you're good. Did I forget to check in? I forgot to check in. Forgot to check into my own tournament. Jeez Louise. Announcements tourney at Goblins. Forgot to remind check-ins. Will start in 3 minutes. Alright, here we go. Actually, I'll start in like 2 minutes. Alright, it's time. So basically, it's a tourney to see who can counterpick / win counterpick matchups the best. More or less, yeah. More or less. Because in my interview that I did, by the way, I did do an interview on Nerd War Room's channel. In the interview, hell yeah, I was reminded about pick ban tournaments. SFTs are nice, but it's way better tournament practice to get your counter picks and counter pick defenses going. This should help out a lot. And top bracket can just pick their faction. So at least 50% of the time, if you want to main a faction, you can. Should be nice. Alright, we're starting in 1 minute. 1 minute and then we go. Rancid Visitations for Lord Snipes. Yo, yeah. Rancid Visitations is massive damage. Though technically a little bit on the expensive side, right? Overcast will get like, let's say it gets like 2,000 damage. I guess it's a guaranteed hit though, unlike Doombolt. But it costs a good amount more Winds of Magic. So, you know. Pros and cons. Generating the bracket. At Goblins. Round 1 has begun. And we're up against Potatoes Devil. Alright. Should be pretty good. Potatoes. Potatoes Devil. Yo yo. Alright. Here we go. We don't have to we don't have to declare factions. It's crazy. Alright. I'm top. So, let's play Nurgle. Ban, Maelstrom? Alter for the champion's fine for Nurgle. Whirling. Cursed Oasis is not the worst. Oh boy, picks and bans. It's time. We are all children of Nurgle today. Oh, you didn't catch everyone's earlier messages. I thought the plague request was supposed to be Skaven. Whoops. Yeah, no, they said Exalted Plaguebearers, I believe. Exalted Plaguebearers are decent, not the worst. You can get the regiment for now. Also, yeah, I gotta learn how to play slow. Also, we're not gonna throw our Lord today. If the Lord gets sniped, there's not much you can do to stop it. You know, if they're really dedicated for the snipe. But I'm not gonna throw my Lord. Presumably. If I go for Tarmacon, we're probably fine, right? Wood Elves, Corn, and Dowie. Whoa. And he bans Altar of the Champion. Interesting. So we're on Oasis. Let's play verse Dwarves. Give me the Dwarves. Give me the Dwarves! Alright, here we go. We're definitely gonna throw our Lord today? What? I would never. Okay, no, actually though. Today's the day, alright? No more Lord throw shenanigans. Alright. First of all, Tarmacon's a raid boss. Second of all, I'm here to repent. All right, we're gonna do way better this time. Way better. I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose no more. Yo, Purple Sun would actually be pretty hype for Dwarves, but I got a different plan. I got me a different plan today against them. Yo, wait, so Nurgle got buffed, right? Nurgle. Rot Glorious Rot. Spread is larger. Nice. 50 meters. Herald of Nurgle on a Rot Fly. More mass. Plague Drones. More mass. Pox Riders. Cheaper. Barons of the Bog. Melee attack. Yeah, okay. Poxrider's got a melee attack boost in general. Nice. Spawn of Nurgle got the usual buff. Beast of Nurgle got a very slight buff. A very slight buff. Uncle for Uncle. Nice. Uncle for Uncle's the same. Don't you dare speak his name. Uncle for Uncle is unchanged. And no one can change my mind on that. Now, what type of units do I want here? If we're playing Nurgle, it's a slow game. You know, Marauder great weapons of Nurgle are pretty hyped too, aren't they? Aren't they? Let's see. How do I get my money expenditures just right? Okay, that's probably a good ability to have. Do I need survivability on Tamercon? Definitely not, right? It'll be fine. Let's take that. So now my money expenditure is looking good. Then I'll get rid of one of these guys, and then I have myself a pretty decent build. Although, I guess Pestigors are just way better Marauders of Nurgle, right? I think it's almost just flat upgrade. This is a matchup where little toadies are not the worst. A little bit of Plague Toad action. Yo, what if he goes Slayer Max, though? Imagine I just get wrecked by my own janky Slayer Max build. That would be pretty funny. It'd be funny and sad, but in theory, Furies, even Nurgle Fury should do pretty decent against them. I would really like to get like a Chaos Knight Lance unit in here. 70 speed, lots of HP. I just don't really know what I'm supposed to cut to get him in. Is this okay? Okay. It's nothing too impressive here. How do I kill Slayers? What am I supposed to do? Doggos! Yeah, the doggos! Alright, here we go. No way we lose. And can't wait to see how I turn Nurgle into a mobile kite faction. I'm morally obligated to bring Exalted Plague Bearers and normal Plague Bearers today. Though I will say, Nurgle with Chaos Knight Lance spam and Rot Knights is probably not the worst. With all the healing they can dish out. Yeah, they can also reduce charge bonus and melee attack. So they have a lot of support abilities. They have a damage reflect, kind of like Shield of Thorns. So think of them as kind of like janky Petunia, right? Janky Petunia with way less on the end of Peasant Bowman. But it's kind of there. Yeah, Chaff Infantry should uptrade Slayer, so like normal Plague Bearers will probably be fine. Yeah, Nurgle Infantry is real good. They just don't have the Peasant Bowman. I think, yeah, Nurgle mobility, especially with the Chaos Knight Lance buff, is going to be much more scary, I think. They also have chariot heroes. They got real tanky lords. Tamarkon's just a beast. Yeah, Amanda's speed penalty. That was the worst. Oh, also, yo, good news, guys. I fixed my Patreon thingy. Look at that. It's fixed, more or less. I had to jank it a little bit, but it's fixed. All right. Yeah, Nurgle magic's pretty good too. It's no Zinch magic, but it's good. So here's the idea. I gotta play center line here, right? I think going too wide means that my infantry will not be able to support each other once the main fight gets started. Ready? Good luck, have fun. Once the main fight gets started, I gotta make sure that my infantry can all engage together. When you're dealing with Plague Bearers, speed is the issue. At 27 speed, you are slow. So I brought some mobility to help them out. Some Barons of the Bog, because they got buffed. Some Miners, okay. And yeah, we're just gonna use our cavalry to their full extent. And then just kind of infantry swarm them, because what are these? Just dwarf warriors. He has 14 units. I'm expecting some rangers or what have you to show up at some point. Yep. Rangers. There they are. They're gonna be in for some pain though, because they are effectively undefended, right? You can see they're already running for their lives. Trying to regroup with the Iron Drakes as my little chariot character gets in here. Okay, yeah, so I found all the Rangers. 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, that's basically all the units. Anyways, little chariot guy does well against them. Who would have guessed? He can actually be quite the menace, because there's no like troll hammers or anything here. Tamarkon's a beast too. He does not care at all. This guy's missile resist is going to be working out well for him. You know what Rangers do badly against? High armor. Rather surprising indeed. Brotherhood of Grimnir, though. We want to tussle. They want to tussle. Exalted Plague Bearers are made to murder them, though. Alright. Let's get that caster in. Jesus, one chariot character is actually just going to win the game on his own. It's kind of bonkers. Alright, now how do I deal with these guys, though? Jeez, look at this guy. He's just working them. He's just working them. Very nice. Good to see. Let's get a little bit of heal down while we're at it, too. Charge those miners. Dwarves kind of getting bullied. Right now, as it stands. Getting real bullied. Just by their lack of mobility. And I can even get some Furies in here too to join in on the fun. Which will certainly go pretty well for me. I will have to worry about Tamarkon. But that's what Curse of the Leper's for. Just let them get hit. Let them damage reflect. It'll be great. And then for the Giant Slayers, we can pick a good engagement there. Now I will need another Fury to deal with these Rangers over here. Tamarkon doesn't really worry about the main fight. He'll be just fine. There we go. And this is where the pain and suffering begins. Rangers on the flank are just not really well equipped here to deal with this. This is going to be very painful. Getting that Chariot Lord in the backfield. See, those Giant Slayers don't even know what to do exactly. There we go. Beautiful initial route. And yeah, he's going to get a little bit of flamethrower action in. But his front line is completely getting annihilated right now, right? Dwarves were never meant to play wide. There's the Grim Delvers. Gonna be trying to help out. But although they can get a little bit of damage in, they will not be deleting these Furies by any means. Tamarkan can fight his Lord, because he's no Slayer Lord or anything. Very nice. And then the Furies can be extra annoying and also shut down these guys. Great thing about Rangers, by the way, is that they simply do not have a lot of oomph. They don't have a lot of armor. So you can really just bully them. Tamarkan's doing great. Let's get some horsemen in here. Doggos. Doggos trade very well there. And then as soon as these guys terror out, I can move on with my life and finally shut down this Iron Drake. In the meantime, Exalted Hero, making sure he doesn't get Grimdelvered. Overall, this battle's going great, though. As long as Tamarkan doesn't die. Which I know all y'alls are always easily worried when you see me with the Lord, but this time is different. Look at these Exalteds. Actually kind of cooking versus these Giant Slayers. Actually cooking really well. Nice. Now the important thing is not to overextend with your infantry units when you're playing these slower factions. It's asking for pain and suffering when you do that. They will just die. Very nice. A Plague Bearer's monstrous infantry? Yeah, nah, they're just normies. They just a bunch of normies. Nice, I got my heal now. I can use that on my boys. On these knights, I think. How does this work? So if I cast it here, then it jumps to the knights, then it jumps to this guy? No, he didn't get the heal. What is this? 30-meter range? What a ripoff. What an absolute ripoff. Oh my gosh, I just ate a massive blasting charge volley too. For effectively no reason. Whoopsie daisies. While trying to investigate that, how the ability works. In the end though, chariot characters is just too much of a menace, right? I believe this guy has, yeah, a lot of value. He's just been gliding through infantry for the entire battle. He really doesn't have to worry much. And so far the Plague Bearers are not bad. I don't know how well they compare to like normal Chaos Warriors. Exalted Plague Bearers are definitely pretty chunky, but like, what if I just ran like Chosen, you know? Would it have really been that much of a difference? I feel like the Warriors of Nurgle are just better because they have armor, right? I'd have to double check though. Maybe the Plague Bearer's got some secret sauce that I'm unaware of. Let's get that damage reflect going. As Nurgle, you basically want to spam your abilities off cooldown because you're trying to make use of your lore passive as much as possible. This is kind of why people have been swerving off of Fleshy Abundance. I guess against the guns, these guys are basically indestructible, right? With that mighty physical resist. How's my, yeah, looks like my knights are doing well. And then the dread Barons of the Bog, why not? Get the Barons in. Alright, now these are Doom Seekers against my Pestigors. Let's see how well they do. Oh geez, that was a pretty brutal charge on my chariot character there. I think definitely these guys are great. Like Festering Stooges just don't die. They're amazing. But everything else is okay. Definitely serviceable. They definitely tank the blasting charges better than I thought they would, which was a pleasant thing to see. Festering Stooges are just absolutely indestructible. Festering Stooges are such a menace. Are you seeing this? Dude, they festering. They stooging. Jeez, they just don't die, man. They just don't die. 59 melee defense. Holy moly. Kind of insane. Oh no, my Exalted Hero. He finally went down to a bunch of Slayers. At a solid 2,200 value, though, I think he paid for himself. Something tells me he was indeed a good option versus dwarves. Yeah, look at them. They're just tanking the flamethrowers. They're tanking some long jongs and dwarf warriors. He did a good job defending his iron drakes, I must say. It just wasn't really enough, right? Oh, and he rallies. What a Chad. What an absolute beast of a hero. How much mass does he have? 1,500? It doesn't feel like it. It feels like he has more mass than that. Yeah, we'll just send them in. Reduce their melee attack. Give it a little bit of a heal. So the heal spreads like almost instantly. Good to know, good to know. Did it? Oh, did it also spread to him? Oh, huh. So the heal did spread to him. Interesting. Okay, so you just have to get in range eventually and you're fine. I've never really paid attention to how these spread abilities work. So I'm happy to be learning them now. After all these years. Feel like I probably should have learned it a bit earlier, but yeah. Anyways, Mega Valley here. Festering Stooges have 1,700 value plus terror routing. Pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff. And looky there. There's nothing left for the dwarves. I think as dwarves, you don't want to go for that fancy vanguard, by the way. I think that absolutely screwed my opponent over. Like, he got his formation completely in a terrible position for like 300 tickets. That was very painful. But I only know because I've done it myself. And I know it sucks. Good start though. So it's going to be a victory for us. Huzzah! Nurgle versus dwarves. Nurgle wins. Nurgle chosen great weapons. I'll have to look. How'd these guys do? Plague Bearers were okay. They weren't that bad. Yeah, look at that low ranger value. Hey, the ranger great weapons actually got a couple volleys off, I guess. But the Horde of Grimnir was okay. Like, they definitely helped dwarves in, excuse me, in these melee grind matchups. But if you bring enough infantry, I think it gets a little too rough. Chaos Knight Lances were okay. Probably would have done better with another chariot character. And then, yeah, Furies were good. The Doggo, yo, the Doggo versus Rangers, actually hidden tech. You always gotta have something with not a lot of AP in reserve to kill Rangers. Okay, now how do these guys compare to the Chaos Warriors? So you're looking at like a massive HP bonus, right? This is absurd in terms of just raw HP bonus. But the lack of 70 armor means that in most cases, yeah, they have physical resist, right? But, you know, you're looking at like a lower armored unit. But that is a lot of HP. So if we actually go and test this real quick. The Stooges went crazy. Dude, they got so much value. Okay, I want to see. Troll country. How do normal Plague Bearers and Chaos Warriors hold up against... let's give them... Let's give them like a decent unit, right? So we're going to go for an Orc War Boss, just so he doesn't do anything. And I want to see how they do against, like, let's say Savage Orcs, right? How do they compare? Is one significantly better than the other? The Warriors have silver shields. It costs 100 more, though. What are we doing today? We are Plague Bearer maxing. Can we calculate the effective HP? You can, but with armor piercing values being really weird. Or, you know, not being weird, but like just being simply different between units. It ends up being really hard figuring out exactly how the damage works out. Like, these guys got 30 armor, 20% physical resist. These guys just have 100 armor. They reduce 75% of normal damage, but armor piercing still goes through, right? So really they're resisting closer to, let's say, like 50%. These guys have a 20% HP boost and a 20% physical resist. So maybe they're tankier. As you can see, percentage HP wise, right? The Plague Bearers only have slightly less HP. They also do magic damage and poison attacks. These guys also have poison attacks, but I guess the magic damage helped them kill the Savage Orcs. If you look at the comparison, Plague Bearers, they did win faster, which helped them. Now this was against a physical resist Savage Orc unit though. Let's see how this compares against something like Warriors of Chaos. And they're running a really high DPS unit like Forsaken. Here's the thing, if Plague Bearers are just as good as Chaos Warriors, but they're 100 gold cheaper, that's insane. That would mean that you would only take the Chaos Warriors for their missile resist using their silver shields. Otherwise, 100 gold is just a lot. So these are Forsaken with Frenzy against these guys. Oh yeah, you gotta remember, Cloud of Flies is a 9 melee defense increase in melee. Takes a little bit of time to activate, but as soon as it does, it's quite nice. As you can see, the damage trading is fairly close. Chaos Warriors are out DPSing the Plague Bearers though, because of their charge bonus being significantly higher. Yeah, we're not testing the charge on the Forsaken, we're just comparing the units to each other. So you can see in this case, Chaos Warriors do win. They do have a significant percentage more HP than the Plague Bearers. But you gotta remember, this unit's 100 gold cheaper. Unit's 100 gold cheaper. I kind of wonder, what if you just chuck on a bunch of chevrons? Does that actually do anything? So if they perform as well as the Chaos Warriors, if you chevron them up, it means that you're very likely getting your money's worth here. It kind of depends on the armor piercing, but basically they're the same unit as far as I can tell. Chevrons are not meta here. They're just a nice way to see the comparison between units. People tend to bring archers versus Nurgle. It's true. The archers are not impossible to deal with though. As we saw that last game against Rangers, we just kind of shut them down. So like, I guess if you support these guys against anti-archer, it's not bad. As you can see, the DPS race is actually much closer this time. HP wise, the Plague Bearers are only slightly behind in terms of value trading. But it looks like they're probably gonna rout off the Forsaken. Does that mean Plague Bearers are just better than Chaos Warriors if you don't include the shields? Because chevrons are in theory super inefficient, right? But you're telling me a chevron Plague Bearer will do just as well in melee? That's kind of surprising, actually. I really did not expect this result. It's a very mild HP difference. The biggest difference is if you're getting shot at by like peasant bowmen or something, but interesting. So like, you know, like 100 gold of chevrons is in theory super not worth. So like these guys are, yeah, I guess the Plague Bearers are just the better melee combatant than Chaos Warriors. Interesting. I guess they will crumble, but they have fear. So if you think about it, right, they also have a leadership diva. It's very, very interesting. Now, let's try your range damage test to just get a feel for the differences here. The silver shields will obviously be massive, but let's just see. Chaos Warriors, so this should be significantly better for the Chaos Warriors, and then we'll try armor piercing. So we go here. We march on up. And then we take ranged fire for a little bit. So you can see Chaos Warriors, they are silver shielded. So they already block 55% of small arms fire. And you can see even with the HP increase that Plague Bearers have, Chaos Warriors basically take no damage, right? This much is very clear, right? So you get a much more missile resistant unit with the Chaos Warriors for only 100 more, and they'll fight about as well as Plague Bearers. So Chaos Warriors are probably just a much safer pick based on this testing. But assuming I don't let my Plague Bearers get shot ever, in melee they will be just as good. I kind of wonder though. So what if you have Plague Bearers Chaos Warrior, but you're dealing with Thunderers? Will that make a significant difference? Try Spawn of Nurgle. The buffs that they got all spawn across the board, still don't see play, sadly. So I feel like Spawn of Nurgle probably also will not see play. I guess Plague Bearers would be more resistant to magic damage, right? Most magic damage is armor piercing. So this is Chaos Warriors versus Plague Bearers. Against Gunpowder, Plague Bearers will suffer. Spawn of Tzeentch. Oh yeah, Spawn of Tzeentch is Spawn of Tzeentch saw the most play when Warhammer 3 launched, so gonna make sense. Yeah, the Iron Drakes didn't kill the Plague Bearers as quickly as it seemed. I wonder how it would compare versus like Chaos Warriors, because we're talking like explosion damage. So what if instead of these guys, maybe the loose formation makes a difference? 2 more matches till the next round, by the way. This format should actually favor me. I generally consider myself a very good counter picker. Yeah, I guess the Tzeentch ones. Tzeentch ones are kind of different because they have a minus, like they have armor sundering. They have, they just straight up have armor sundering, which is like a crazy good ability. Hopefully they shoot correctly, and here we go. So as you can see, against Iron Drake specifically. Okay, this is actually really interesting. So against Dwarf players that are going for Iron Drakes, Plague Bearers take about the same damage as Chaos Warriors. Which means that in that game, I probably ended up taking the right unit. Because the Iron Drakes were the ones shooting me, not the Rangers. So there you go. There's the answer to life and everything. If you're worried about explosive damage, blasting charges, and the like, go for Plague Bearers. You don't need Chaos Warriors. Chaos Warriors are your anti-blockable missile thing. Yeah. Which, you know, it makes sense, right? Silver Shields is bonkers. Mega bonkers value. Yeah, how does it work versus blasting charges, though? It's actually very important testing. Who performs better with the added armor spell? Check with the 2 Nurgle casters. Dang, yo, that's insane. So the Plague Bearers actually came out on top against blasting charges. Wow. Okay, yeah, loose formation OP. You know what? I think I'm gonna be a Plague Bearer main against Dwarves. Like, actually, if you're playing Warriors of Chaos, I would go for Plague Bearers instead of Chaos Warriors with shields, because these guys will do way better against most AoE options, and as long as you shut down the Rangers, you're good. Literally every other unit will probably do worse, except for maybe some gunpowder units shooting into the shields. Test them against Foot Squires. I'm pretty sure they will perform nearly the same, with the Plague Bearers only slightly down trading. But they are cheaper. Like, I think the Chaos Warriors, they fight like a 750 gold unit, and then you're paying the 50 gold extra for the shields. Max Chevron them. I don't think we need to do that. Seems like an unrealistic situation. Next round? No, okay. People still playing. Versus Foot Squires. Chaos Warriors versus Plague Bearers. Chaos Warriors have the higher charge bonus. Plague Bearers got that sick melee defense boost to keep up with the Chaos Warriors. They also have ludicrous weapon strength. Melee attack values are the same. They both poison. Both having a good time. But as you can see, the Foot Squires, the DPS, chopping through the lower HP of the Chaos Warriors. Plague Bearers, still grinding. Interesting to see, actually. The DPS is slightly higher for the Chaos Warriors, but you see what I mean, right? Plague Bearers are just more bang for your buck. At 700 gold, they're just better in a melee. In a pure melee situation. You'd probably take them versus like Slaanesh instead of Chaos Warriors, right? Take them against vampire counts instead of Chaos Warriors. Though it's not like you really run melee against those factions. Interesting. Next round has started at Goblins. Round 2. Begin. And we're up against Charax. Hey. Yo, we did an interview with Charax yesterday. I think he was the one that that reminded me about the pick ban format. Also, yeah, look at this. Huge Plague Bearer value. They're just better. They're just better in melee. Which is where they should be. I think that's actually a really nice position for them. Now, Charax is going to get to pick his faction. I don't think I will play Nurgle into, like, many of the factions he might go for. But we'll see. Maybe not against Wood Elves. Maybe against High Elves. Probably against Dark Elves. Oh boy. Love getting these spicy matchups early on in the tournament, as long as I can qualify for semis. I think Warriors are more versatile. Like, Warriors are definitely the far safer option, but if you are purely focused on melee, Plague Bearers will save you a lot. You can get a whole extra Warhound of poison if you go 5. Like, would you rather have 5 Plague Bearers and a Warhound, or just 5 Chaos Warriors? It's kind of your choice to make, right? Or, much more apt, 5 Plague Bearers and a Marauder of Nurgle Great Weapon, right? You know, if you put all those savings together into raw HP, you get a whole 10,000 extra HP just for taking shields off of these guys. It's not the worst. Lizards, ban Putrefying Gaze. Nurgle, ban... What's Rapturous Expanse? Ban Lake. Rapturous Expanse is kind of big. But let's see it. He's playing Lizardmen. I don't gotta fear Charax's Lizardmen. It's chump change. It's chump change. Let's see here. So, how do we want to do this? I wonder how my Plague Bearers trade versus Saurus Warriors. Because just because they compare to Chaos Warriors doesn't mean that they'll do as well. Saurus will surely be spooky. You will probably have... Oh, wait, I'm supposed to pick 3. Nurgle. Alright. I gotta... To force Nurgle, I gotta pick the hardest counters to Lizardmen ever, right? Oh, man. Let's see. What are the worst matchups for Lizardmen, guys? Whoopsie daisies. Okay, Nurgle, Empire, right? Empire is very good into Lizardmen. And I played Skaven, but I lost that last time. Yeah, this would actually be a pretty funny Grand Cathay moment. Let's see here. Wood Elves is kind of a toss-up. Nurgle, Demons of Chaos, and Empire. Demons of Chaos is kind of weird into Lizardmen, isn't it? It's not actually favored, right? Vampire counts? No, it's also kind of sus. Sure. Nurgle, Empire, and you know what? And Greenskins. No, Greenskins lose to single entity blobs. We literally talked about that yesterday. And Kislev. There's no way he would want to play Lizardmen into Empire or Kislev, right? You can still play Baramax as Demons of Chaos? Oh, dang, that's 5D chess. Should have realized. Okay, yeah. Nurgle, Empire, and Demons of Chaos. That's why we have 2 ways to play Baramax. Massive. Cathay mentioned. Alright. So, he'll probably still want to face Nurgle instead of Demons of Chaos. Demons of Chaos are just real strong right now. But maybe he wants to practice a bad matchup. We'll see. Dinos versus Bears. Yeah, no Kislev. What's it gonna be? Warriors of Chaos, Demons of Chaos, and Nurgle. If only they could bring Plague Bearers. Yeah, no other faction really makes sense. So, what's it gonna be? You can play Skaven as Squolk with Plague Bunks. Okay, yeah, so he does want to play versus Nurgle. Yeah, that'd be hilarious. Just always Nurgle, Skaven, and Demons of Chaos. That's my lineup for the whole day. That's hilarious. But everyone's just gonna pick Skaven, and then I'm gonna have to bring Plague Monks. It's true though. It's true. All right. Anyways, Nurgle time. So Lizardmen, a scary faction. Lots of flyers, lots of shooty guys. Lots of possible sniping opportunities, right? Now, how do we want to do this? I can definitely win the air game, but that's just asking to get Tempest. Won't win with Skaven unless I embrace the Eshin lore. Are Rotflies ever worth it? Rotflies, they did get buffed. They are surprisingly good versus cavalry, is how I'd rank them. Something about their splash attacks really chunk cavalry down. I don't know what it is, but it just lines up really well. There's good reason to expect that he's going to try kiting me. So that's definitely something to be wary of. He can bring in Skinks, which uptrade insanely well into Nurglings, which is one of the things that has me a little more worried. Chosen with halberds. I really don't want to just get kited into oblivion, you know. I need something that can shut down skirmishers that will also be able to hold versus nets. It's a big ask. Tamarcon on Toad Dragon to deal with the Shredder. Tamarcon on Toad Dragon is pretty fun, but he really likes Salamander play. And that's just going to be problematic for me. Chaos Knight with Lances are also very prone to getting nuked against many of his playstyles. Which makes it seem like this is just pure pain and suffering, right? This is just absolute pain and suffering. I think my Chaos Chariots do have more speed than his cavalry, though, so that kind of helps. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get kited into oblivion, but Never say never. Never say never. So if he whips out the salamanders, do I have an answer to them? Like, no, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we just crush him somehow. Maybe by some miracle he just gets annihilated out of nowhere. Oh man, are beasts of Nurgle any good? Okay, is there anything I can do? Is there anything I can do at all against just the raw kite? Because him just kiting me into oblivion and routing everything off the battlefield. Like, how do I not get salamandered to death? I'm looking at my options. There are not many. Like, I guess there's this, but they're just gonna die. They're just gonna die. Oh. Oh, jeez. Alright, here we go. Now, this is a build. Angels of Decay. They will probably get Tempested, but Tempest won't actually kill their entities, which is nice. Skirmishers are still a pain in the butt, though. Use the Face of Foot style. Face of Foot style is not bad, but Charx is a high-level player. He has the skirmishing chops to out DPS me with Lizardmen. He's really good at getting that damage in with the salamanders. The ROR Soul Grinder destroys ammo. It does. Not quickly enough, though. Most Lizardmen units have whack loads of ammo. Just pack it up versus Charx. Carafthir. Carafthir. We got it, man. It's just Lizardmen versus Nurgle. What's the matchup on Total Tavern? I'm looking it up right now. Total Tavern. Nurgle, 50% win rate. Lizardmen, 0% win rate. But they've only played 2 games. So if we're going by usual statistical methods, right? We add +1. What was it? You add like +1 win to the Lizardmen side, right? So like it could be as good as a 33% win rate. Bet you didn't think about that, did ya? Bet you didn't think about that. But it's true. It could be a 33% win rate right now when I win this. Turn will exile you for saying Noxbringer is too weak. I really don't like the Noxbringer. I know it's a very strong unit in many situations. I just don't really like it. I'm not a big artillery man. Maybe I should do an artillery day. This map would have been great for the Noxbringer. Don't you just use Buna on salamanders and easy? Well, you could have told me that earlier, Darstrix. I brought the lore of Nurgle. Just to slow heal my entire army. So win rates between me and Charx, not the best. I think my total tavern overall win rate's like 60%, 60 something. His is like 80. Insane win rate. But it's okay, it's playing Lizardmen. Is Papa Nurgle assisting you? Absolutely. Okay, so basically the same build as last time. What we're gonna do is we're gonna capture these points nice and early. Okay. Yeah, we're just gonna hard cap all these points. Ready? Good luck, have fun. And then as soon as all the points are captured by my little hero squad, then we proceed to win the game by just up trading the melee grind. Just rush him with infinity amounts of plague bearers, and then he will surely suffer. He's brought Crocky G, Feral Troglodon, and some skirms. A lot of skinky skirms. Okay, that's not the worst. We're obscuring where our army might be, right? By keeping them in the trees. Okay, lots of armor piercing. So my plague bearer should do way better against red crested skinks, by the way. Now he has some big boys here, right? These are some very big boys. And my answer to them may surprise you. It's to die. It's to just straight up die. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I got the capture point though. That's pretty high. He brings in Salamander hunting pack. Okay.
We have a victory point.
Can I? There's no way I can just kill them, right? They're way too far away right now. Could bring in some plague drones maybe. The thing is, this is like a, yeah, this is a failed Troglodon, man. Now, I do have a 10% missile resistance on this guy, right? So he'll be doing pretty well. The chariot dude just really resisting them missiles. And then we can heal up my caster in a bit. Gotta keep holding that point for a little while. Hey, nice! This King Skirmishers got hit. Hell yeah. By my Exalteds. Alright, nice. Now the early damage will feel a little sus, but it's not as bad as you might expect. Because here's the thing. My hero heals. My little caster hero here. He heals like a mad lad. So he'll be doing great as soon as we start spamming out them spells. As you may know, the Plague Bearers, they don't do too well against these skirms. Against these range units. They'll live though, they'll live. Okay, maybe an overextension from this Troglodon here. So one thing we can do is we can do this, the double threat. So with the chariots, right? With the chariots and the plague drones, he can't be everywhere at once. So these guys are just gonna have to book it. And I can begin to capture these points. Obviously the kiting's very annoying. But he's gonna need a... Ouch, jeez. I got in range of the Troglodons. Oh, the Salamanders, it hurts. It's fine to heal. It's fine, everything's fine. Let's get another plague drone. We're using plague drones to counter his guys. Alright. Oh, jeez, my poor caster, man. My poor caster. He's getting bullied. Alright, looking not bad at least for those Exalteds. Chariots are putting in work too. Always good to see. Caster over here can get his little spell off in the distance. We're gonna send our plague drones right on there. We're gonna send our plague drones right on here. We pull through with the chariots. Keep them safe. And then I just gotta start spamming spells, right? Just gotta start spamming a million spells. Plague Bearers are doing pretty good. Get another Plague Bearer over here. Troglodons can't stop my guys forever. The Nurgle tide is endless. So we now reduce the melee attack over there. Very nice. Little chariot guy can start working away. And he shouldn't be able to win any of these engagements, right? He should not really be able to win them because it's just a big old melee grind. That's super in my favor. Let's see how those salamanders do though in the distance. So far it seems like they're doing extraordinarily well, which is bad. Oh, my poor caster. Okay, I'm gonna need to resummon him. Hey, Plague Drones got in though. Let's get that Beast of Nurgle in too. Alright. Now caster's gone. If he's full gone, it's a little unfortunate. How my chariot's doing? Not bad, not bad. Exalted Plague Bearers should be able to do fine too. Looks like, yeah, my chariots at least are doing really well. More or less uncontested, right? Tamarcon versus Crocky G though. Wonder how that one's gonna play out. Tamarcon's a beast. You can't say Tamarcon is not an absolute unit. Though he's gonna have to deal with a lot of shooting on his face. But I think with the Exalted Plague Bearers, he's probably okay. Caster comes back, hell yeah. Heal up the army, son. Heal him up. He should be fine there. Then the Exalted Hero is doing good. Unfortunately, I was unable to capture the middle point, which means that a lot of extra pressure here is going to go a little wasted. Though with the chariots, we will be able to get it. We are pushing over here. Krokgar is fully healed though, which I do not very much appreciate. And Tamarkon's gonna have to start playing it safe. Thankfully though, my opponent is absolutely out of infantry, which is a plus. Which is an absolute plus. Kroxagors are in though. Interesting. Now, this is the beginning of the beginning with the triple cap. The face of foot style is definitely not the worst here. Chariots though, gonna have to book it away from Krokgar because he's on a hunt. Krokgar's out for blood. You there gotta run for your life. Okay, Krokgar leaves him alone. Nice. Good to see, good to see. And looks like we have a pretty big route over here. So now my opponent is playing for the recap. And he has mostly single entities still, which means that they can't really get a lot of work done. A couple skink skirms over there, not a big deal. Yes, he might capture the middle point, but that is the only thing we will let him recapture. And then I just gotta play run around with my skirmishers, right?
One of your units has been destroyed.
All right, pretty good. Okay, Tamarkon's gonna die. He's gonna die a very inglorious death to these troglodytes if I'm not careful here. Plague bearers are in though. Tamarkon is technically alive. It's the best kind. It's the best kind of alive. There's another debuff. Gotta keep healing. The lower melee attack on these feral cold ones will definitely help me out. Okay, yeah, Tamarkon, you're on retirement duty. Tamarkon is here to retire. You can rest well, good sir. You've done your job. Trading value is through the roof for my opponent. Look at that though. Tamarkon lives. We've retaken a capture point. I just gotta hold the double cap for another million years and then we're good. Looks like these plague bearers will probably be able to hold here. All right. Let's kill off those skink skirmishers with you, good sir. Gotta remember, we do have a rather excessive amount of healing here, which helps us greatly compared to usual. We'll see how good his infantry clearing capabilities are. He's gonna bring in a lot of skinks over here. I don't really have that much to answer for it. If I get double capped, life gets real awkward. We lose the Beast of Nurgle to basically nothing. Classic. Let's get a stream of corruption though. Just right down the pipe. Nice and safe like. Now can I stop him from stealing this point? Plague bearers are okay for that. They're definitely alright. I'm just gonna straight up slow him down to stop him from capturing. And then it looks like we have killed off his cold ones, which is a plus. He's gonna have a hard time actually re-securing any points here, which is good. Tamarkon is still alive too, right? Very nice to see. Alright, let's bully the Troglodon off.
Triple gold chevron, men at arms, polearms, with response and grail relics when?
Wait, holy crap, that's $50, bro. Jeez. I can do it today, man. You want me to do it today? That's enough for a whole stream's worth of polearm. What is this? Men at arm, polearms, grail relic? Jeez, man. Alright, I'll look into it as soon as I'm done dying to Charix. I almost have a double cap, but you see the huge swarm of units coming in here? That's a problem. Unfortunately, as soon as the Kroxagors get there, I'm not capturing that point. Very good point control on them as the Troglodon continues to get a lot of work in. Dang it. Troglodon, dang you! That guy gets routed. But the Exalted Plague Bearers definitely have enough capture weight here to do well. Tamarkon's also starting to heal up. He can begin participating once again in the greater fight. Let's get that cavalry slowed down. Nice. Just a couple horned ones. Who cares? Come on. The Exalteds are definitely not the worst for hunkering down on points for millennia. I'm just a little worried about, like, the whole, are we gonna live? Are we gonna die here? Am I just gonna run out of units? It's like, this guy ain't looking too good. This point's barely getting swung in my favor. So it's not exactly like this is the best. And the middle's starting to slowly go down too. Brings in more skirms, though I do push him off of this point. That's good. We could start, yeah, we can enjoy our double cap situation. That's nice. It's nice. Horned ones are off the point, but somehow he still has capture weight. You're kidding me. Don't you dare terrorize. Come on. Holy crap. He holds it? What is this guy? What even is this? How's this point still being held? Oh my gosh. Bro. Broski. Yeah, okay. Alright, I think we're done for. He would have recaptured it anyways, but dang, that's so painful. I committed so many resources to that area. Also, my single entities could not kill the troglodytes. Should have known, should have known. Maybe I should have gone way harder on the single entities. Just go Tarmacon on his big thing. But I'm pretty sure we're gonna snipe too. Yeah, okay. The only way I can win this is if I pile in with all of my Exalteds. And then maybe we're able to hold on to these points long enough to potentially win the game. Tarmacon is gonna live at least. And his horned ones are kind of in an awkward position, right? They're just kind of stuck bouncing between points to make sure that they don't get locked down. It's not entirely unfeasible that we are able to hold a 2-cap as soon as I get my infantry on here. Like, these plague bearers, they certainly fight for a long time. And Tarmacon, you know, he'll be back in a little bit. I have my chariots over here. I have a couple chariots doing something. I'm gonna need to get on the point soon, though. That's the big problem. Because he's already captured this. And if I have to triple cap him, it's over. Man, if I got this point... if I had captured this point, it would have been so good. Exalted Plague Bearers be slow, though. Tarmacon is in. Now, does he have his passive triggered? Not quite yet. Not quite yet. Unfortunately, yeah, we're at a triple cap point. All right, GG, well played. All right. GG, well played. Yeah, so it was the Troglodons that did me in the end. Not enough ways to deal with them. Honestly, a face of foot style would have been not the worst. Just like a pure face of foot style. But it would be much worse against like the salamanders. Like drones were okay, chariot was okay. Honestly, it wasn't the worst. I would need like just a little bit more and then we get the tipping point. Just a little bit more. Anyways, what do you want to see? Triple gold chevron, men-at-arm pole arms with Rapance. Okay, all right. Triple gold chevron, men-at-arms with Rapance. I will try it. I will give it a go. That's a lot of money. Thank you very much for the 50. Oh my gosh. All right, let's see. How's the bracket progressing? Most people are done. There's just 3 more matches. So obviously we would need like some fast single entity fighters to deal with this. Because Crocky G was just too much of a beast, right? I do think it's a bad matchup for Nurgle. But I think you can make it work with some skew builds. Maybe you can even just catch him with the Rotting Riders. That's something I didn't really pay too much attention to, but these guys would be able to fight Troglodons. Absolutely. Absolutely. Alright, I'm gonna have to lock in to get to semis. But I will try to fit in the men-at-arm pole arms with Rapance at some point. But I gotta make sure I can actually win. Yeah, you can get a horse character instead of Tammy. There's a lot of sniping, but like a big enough rush would be able to kill a singular Krotgar and 2 Troglodons. You know, I almost wish I had my throwing axes. I did cut my throwing axes for more plague drones. But if you bring out a bunch of these guys, they shouldn't be able to grind too well. Unfortunately, Tammy, you probably could have put the beat on Crocky G, but he was getting shot by the Troglodons. This is honestly good enough to beat any Shredder of Lustria type build, though. So I was thinking, like, okay, if he goes for like a big Shredder or a big single entity, I bring in the Angels of Decay. I did not consider that he would have Troglodons to ward him off for the whole battle. Brutality. Well, as long as I win 2 more matches, we're good. Yeah, Buna's okay, but you lose out on healing. The Exalted Plague Bearers are really good, though. The fact that they have 7 capture weight makes them a lot scarier than I initially ranked them. Because you can put 1 on each point. They'll probably hold forever. And then they'll just kind of chill, right? They just kind of chill and get a lot working. So I don't think it's impossible. I don't think it's impossible. The Beast of Nurgle was a terrible idea, though. Beast of Nurgle just insta-died. Had I summoned a unit of Plague Bearers, I would have been in a much better situation. It's either you ignore the single entity squad or you go all in on it. Foot Squires with their recent buffs. I'm ready to try out the, what was it? Triple gold chevron men-at-arm polearms with Rapance and Grail Reliques. Oh, it's not even foot squire, it's just men-at-arm polearms. Interesting. I will say, chevron men-at-arm polearms are pretty jokes. Because they actually have pretty ludicrous stats. So look at this guy. 40 melee defense, right? With full chevrons, 50 melee defense. You know what else has 50 melee defense? For a 700 gold unit? Take a look at this. Longbeards are 48 for 700. So if you think about it, if you squint really hard, they're basically Longbeards with anti-large armor piercing. 29 melee attack, Longbeards, 30 melee attack. Give them a Grail Relique, armor piercing, anti-large. Now we're talking, right? In theory, though, they are legitimately Longbeards with way worse leadership. But against large units, that armor piercing's massive. Yeah, minus the Silver Shield and the armor and the Encourage and 10 leadership. But they are 30 gold cheaper. Let's see here. Yeah, just look at that stat difference, right? So it's 70 armor, 700 HP. 20 leadership, my bad. 20 freaking leadership. Encourage, ITP. So Longbeards won't break. Men-at-arm polearms will. However, their damage is way higher. All right, these are halberd units. 29 melee attack is nothing to scoff at. So I don't think you're in the dumps doing it. Waiting on for Poland and Cowboy, by the way. Looking forward to a gold chevron stream. Just everything gold chevron. Stop comparing them, man. It's making me sad. Let's see here. How do they compare to Grand Cathay's halberds? They have roughly the same leadership, but look at the stat difference, man. Look at that melee stat difference. The melee stats are way better than Jade Warrior halberds. So in a melee against armor piercing units, they're probably pretty high. Redeem to hydrate, thank you. We'll see though. So I'll start mixing in Betonia. With the $50 donation, I gotta at least get a couple wins with this polearm shenaniganry. It will still mostly be a Nurgle thing, but I might try it once today and then more tomorrow. I appreciate it very much, good sir. I don't know if I can squint that hard. Oh my gosh. What else do they compare it to? Skaven, Storm Vermin Halberds. Compare them to Men-at-Arm polearms. Okay, yeah, the stats may be lower across the board. Lower HP, but you can get 2 of them to make up for the HP. Like, if you think about it, they are tankier than Storm Vermin. If you have that Grail Relic nearby. They are slower, but like, yeah, the damage is kind of close. It's kind of close. It's kind of there. It's almost there. Oh, if you add the Yin Yang bonus to the Cathay Jade Warriors, it's what? It's like +6/+6. Yeah, you know. Technically, these guys have the Harmony Jade Warriors. If you think about Men-at-Arm polearms as Harmony Jade Warriors permanently for less armor, it's actually not bad. Don't forget the Response and the Grail Relic buff.
Don't forget the Response buff and Grail Relic buff.
Yeah. So the extra amp here is you go for Response. And she gives +10 melee defense, +8 melee attack. So then these guys just become like great weapon infantry. Is it hype? Against some factions, actually it might be. Round 3. Now losing against Charix means that my next couple opponents will be a little bit easier. Okay, nice.
Don't forget the leadership and stat buffs from Relic and Response. It's more like 40-60 stats.
All right, guys. All right, we won't forget. We won't forget. All right, so he gets picks and bans. My opponent says, "Oh dear Lord, have mercy." Oh boy, I'm sorry, man. Sometimes we lose to Charix. Thank you very much for the donations. Yeah, it's true. So you can get Response. Now she costs a lot, right? But with the Fleur de Lis banner, it's +10, +8. And then if you combine that with the Grail Relic, that's an extra +8 melee attack, was it? Yeah, +8 melee attack. No, +8 leadership, +5 melee attack. So you get these guys to 60 melee defense. You make them combat beasts, but only when they're close to Response, and her aura is not that big. But you know what? Whatever. Whatever. He bans Blazing Ramparts and picks a Lizardmen.
Blessed Trebuchet so it doesn't owe them.
Blessed Trebuchet. You guys are insane. All right. Let's play Lair, Arachnarok Lair, and then I'm Bretonia, Nurgle, and Demons of Chaos, which means we'll be able to satisfy all of your crazy suggestions all at once. All right, people. People are gonna be like, Gold Chevron Grail Relic. All right. Yeah, so you want to see one Blessed Trebuchet, and you want to see a bunch of Men-at-Arm polearms. He's a Lizardman. Okay, he picks Nurgle. He picked Nurgle. I had no control. It's gonna be Nurgle. So I have 2 options here. Either face the foot style, triple cap, hang around forever, have a chill time, or what? The face foot style is not the worst. Could definitely do this. Do that. It's a rematch against the Lizardmen, people. Vengeance shall be mine. It shall be mine. Outlast, overcome. At some point we'll get someone that decides that they want to die to the Nurg max. So Forsaken don't have that much HP. They're kind of sus. The Marauders now we're talking. Face of Foot style against Lizardmen is weird. They don't really have that many chariots to dish out, which can hurt them a lot, but like it's still very sus regardless. Okay, I think Rotflies and Plague Drones are good. You can't really go too wrong with them. It seemed like they were tussling against his cavalry fairly well. So we bring out the Face the Foot. Maybe he goes for big monsters. Maybe he goes for flyers. Who knows? Well, an air game just loses, right? So yeah, if I just bring a bunch of these guys, it should be too much. Like the thing about Nurgle is that they all trade up into skinks, more or less. It's really just like the Shredder and Mazdamundi that can really kill infantry super fast. But even so, yeah, I do have a counter to them. I do have a reserve counter to them. So maybe this is the way. We gotta make sure we make it to semis though. I want to play more matches. Okay, here we go. I'm saving this. Nurgle versus Lizardmen. This build is peak. Oh my gosh, another donation. Thank you so much, guys. If we're doing requests, can we see a purple sun action?
Smiley face emoji. If we're doing requests, can we see purple globe actions?
Oh, you're talking about the Skaven? Alright. Alright, so you want to see Skaven death globes. I can't get all of this in one stream, but yeah, some minor things I gotta redeem at some point. Skaven death globes and Malice Darkblade a little bit more. We gotta finish off this Nurgle Plaguebearer maxing, and then we gotta try out triple gold chevron men-at-arm polearms with Raponce. All right. What about Kugath if he brings Mazdamundi? It can be the battle of the Chunguses. Well, Kugath just eats salamander fire like no one's business. All right. So here's the idea. I picked the wrong map. I picked the wrong map. I'm asking my opponent what he'd rather do. All right, we're just gonna play it. We're gonna play this map. Jeez, I'm falling apart, guys. I'm falling apart. Good luck, have fun. Okay, so this is a proper face-to-foot style this time. Ready. Oh my gosh, another one.
And then afterwards, a Blunderblues Chaos Dwarf build.
Alright. Thank you for the 10 pounds. Oh my gosh. Chowie Blunderbuss. Alrighty. Alrighty. I really appreciate the donations, but you guys are gonna kill me here. Alright. Here we go. So this time around, my opponent has a Slaanesh Mage Priest of Tempest. I got no air units up. He bought Croxagores. He bought a whack load of infantry. Fairly stained. We're gonna play mostly around these 2 points. Nice and close. Are they actually closer than these two? It's hard to tell. Anyways. No, they look pretty equal distance. So his army doesn't have a lot to deal with Angels of Decay, so I'm just gonna summon them in and then we win. Chat isn't going to kill you, just your win rate. Alright. Technically true, technically true. Who knows though? Sometimes there's gold hidden amongst the memery. As soon as I get these Angels of Decay, by the way, he's a dead man. It's a very strong face of foot style. We got our Exalteds here. So they can hunker down on the points and just never give them up. Now remember, he does have Tempest, but I don't care. That's the moral of the story today. That's the game plan. And my Exalteds here could do very well. I don't need to cast magic yet. We're actually saving it for heals. And of course, he doesn't really have that much to really bully my forces, does he? Not very much at all. As you can see, Angels of Decay looking pretty good. Goes through the Arcane Unforging. Saurus Warriors are now exposed, which provides me a mild opportunity to get a little bit of chariot action on them. As you can see, Angels of Decay are certainly getting a lot of work done here. Now he's going to chuck a Tempest on them. But will it be soon enough? No! Looks like no Tempest. Alright, that's actually not bad for me. Because his Lord's just dead now. In theory, his Lord is simply dead, as he does not really have the Winds of Magic to support. He's going to be trying to keep him alive, but things are going to get a little bit sus. There's a spell spam to help my guys live. Okay, and he's going to bring in the Colossadon Hunters, which is a smart play. I can reduce their melee attack, though. As you can see, my Plague Bearers grind exceptionally well. And we're actually going to summon in Doggos now. Now, Doggos might feel weird, but they can definitely cook. Unfortunately, I don't really have a lot of magic left for these guys. So they may die. It's kind of trading out for the Colossadons. It's really a toss-up if they win or not. Colossadon buff is gone, so maybe they'll do okay. Whoopsies, Doggos. Play it safe. I need the Doggos to like chase off routing units and such. Colossadons do win in the end. So I'm going to have to send my guys into these Saurus Warriors instead. And a double cap right now is not the best situation to be in. It's not the bestest situation. But we will have to make do. Now, Doggos are doing great. Get a Marauder in. Is he going to capture the point, though? We'll see. I should be able to catch his cavalry, at least. Colossadons were indeed a good play. But I still got more streams of corruption. Trading-wise, we're actually not doing too bad. And the Doggo charge working out pretty amazingly for me. I like it. I like it. Unfortunately, no more spell casting for me, though. But Doggo charge was decent. Got a bit of damage. Captured the point. I said capture the point. There we go. And we still have just ludicrous amounts of infantry. As long as these Plague Bearers continue to just sit around and be indestructible menaces for the rest of the battle, I think we should be able to win. Plague Bearers are surprisingly good in melee, as we learned via our testing. So we're just gonna leave them in there for a little bit. It's gonna get another spell on them. Shouldn't hurt too bad, though. I wish Curse of the Leper, like the range spell damage gets reflected too. But that wouldn't make that much sense, would it? Now, I think he's trying to go for a Lord Snipe. Gotta be a little careful. My Chariot Micro also was a little bit lackluster this game. They took way too much damage, but maybe I can heal them up. We'll see. So far, though, it seems like life is going fairly well for us, as my Lord manages to continue to survive and be a menace. Another heal for my entire army. And I think we did it. I think we just... He brought a melee build into Nurgle. And he did not survive. This was definitely a game where you just kind of have to trust that your units win the melee grind. And the person who brought the better melee build will win the melee grind. So usually there's not really a lot to do other than just like walk forwards. Maybe a little bit of light skirmishing with some mobility tools, but there really isn't that much going on. At this point, though, with basically no units left, I believe we won. Good stuff. You know what? The person that suggested plague bearers, the answer was just to bring more plague bearers, I guess. That was what I was doing wrong. There's another arcane on forging. This guy has regen though, so he really doesn't care about that. Yeah, that's the answer to Lizardmen. More plague bearers. There goes the Slaanesh mage priest. I will say again, killed by the Colossadons was a little rough, but other than that, all's pretty well. Massive heal all around. Chariots even doing well. Plague bearers just don't die too. The plague bearers are great. Loving them. And nice, look at that. Little doggos are doing great. Some cold ones we can beat up too. I don't know how I feel about the doggos, but if he did bring a skink build, I think they would have been fine. Let's get that Curse of the Leper going. And then a little counter charge. And then another great late game capture strat is to bring in a couple chariots. Yep, 1,000 plague bearers. 1,000 more plague bearers just bumping and grinding. That's a turn phrase. Seriously though, they did so well against the Croxagores. I think, I'm sure all of them have basically paid for themselves. Oh my god, yeah, they all paid for themselves. Holy crap, are plague bearers actually OP? This whole time, plague bearers were OP. These are against the buffed Croxagores too, but I guess they're I guess they're just broken. For a 700 gold unit, I am rather impressed. I've honestly been writing off plague bearers for the longest time. I always thought Chaos Warriors were the way to go. I'm sure Turin either already knows or would be very happy to hear that plague bearers can indeed cook reasonably hard. It's gonna be nice. Reduce that charge bonus. I misclicked. Does that mean they still get the charge bonus or does it go away? Kind of hard to tell. Kind of hard to tell. Dude, this one Exalt has just been doing nothing on this point. And even so, we still won. A very risky play to just leave him there, by the way. Because you don't have a lot of other units, but it can be important. And he's just straight up out of units. The Plague Bearers have proven themselves to be quite mighty. Turns a big Forsaken Enjoyer. I was a big Forsaken Enjoyer. But yeah, I guess if you really just want to go the face the foot style, you can make do. Yeah, we'll just make sure they don't disengage. Give them that slow. Very nice. Old One Rider's almost down. Get another Exalted Plague Bearer. So this one got 1,050 gold value before he died. Nice. Whoops, they already got their charge in. I can still debuff their melee attack though for 20 seconds. In the end, the lore passive is just worth. Lore passive is like, what? Is it as good as the Tomb King's passive? Is it twice as good as the Tomb King's passive? It's insane. So you just want to make use of it as much as possible. You can see these Exalteds are like almost heal capped. Very good sign for them. Very nice. Big route. And he gets shot on the charge. Doggos have won. And this would be a good build versus Charg's build, I think. I don't think the Skink Skirmishers really do enough damage to kill this. So if he goes for Kite, I think it's enough. I'm always questioning though, but I think it's enough. There's another big heal. It doesn't last very long, I must say. It lasts 4 seconds. But yeah, so it heals like 1% HP. You cast like 10 spells. All units are 10% more effective. In theory, you're getting like hundreds of gold worth of value. What's his value? It's okay. Yeah, so if you think about it, right? If I have like 10,000 gold on the battlefield and I use that and get a 1% heal, then each heal is getting me 100 gold. Like each spell is 100 gold more effective because of it. So it's probably hiddenly, you know, of a hidden benefit that's doing a lot. Sure, it doesn't heal full HP units. But as you can see, most of my units are injured, right? So you look at these plague bearers. 5, 4, 7, right? And then they go up to 5. I mean, not 5, 4, 7, 1. Yeah, 5, 1, 4, 7. 5, 2, 6, 2. So they heal like 100 HP per. Like 1,000 extra HP, right? After 10 casts for like all my units. Yeah, so like, let's say if it makes my entire army 5% more effective, it should be worth. Emphasis on the should. Oh, dang, he's actually capturing this. He's capturing my point back. I have no units I can really vanguard in. It's just the one temple guard, though. I think I win the game before he captures it. Nurgle time. As you can see, I very much disrespect the Nurglings, though. I think for me in turn, like I like plague drones a lot more, and I hate Nurglings a lot more. I know Turn really likes the Nurglings, and I know for late game summons they're really good. But man, they just never trade up. Anyways, not bad. As you can see, Exalted's pretty good. Plague Bearers did freaking amazing, as long as they're not getting shot at. And the Stooges got 2,000 value. Nice. Pretty good. That's pretty good. Plague drones are okay. Angels of Decay were not bad. 1,600. Colossedons got their working though. Trusting. So we know Nurgling wins the frontline fight with this build, which is a huge relief to me. Nurgle versus, that was Lizardmen. Furies with overcast damage reflect. That one's a fun one. You still lose a unit of Furies though, which you don't really want. So yeah, I feel like this almost gets there. Because if he summons in cavalry to fight the chariots, they just die to the plague bearers too, right? The cavalry, as we saw, they can't kill plague bearers. It's physically impossible. These guys will just grind forever. I'm almost thinking like, what if I just run fewer spells? But all these spells are fairly good. One funny thing you can do is just like only Miasma of Pestilence to get 250 gold back, but they all have really good utility that I don't really want to get rid of. Test warriors versus bears. Why? What's up? I feel like the warriors just die, right? Have you tried bile trolls? Bile trolls are not bad. I don't think I would run them versus lizardmen though, because they're really low leadership. No, I'm not going to gold chevron them to fix their leadership issues. You play for 2 or 3 capture points with Nurgle. I think it depends on their build. I think if it's a melee build, 2 capture points is enough. If it's a skirmish build, you go for 3. Yo, I feel like they should have made these guys like 10 capture weight. 7 capture weight's still a little sad, I'm not gonna lie. The time it takes to get a very elite unit on a capture point, I feel like it warrants way higher capture weight. But, you know, I don't want the meta to just become Mantide City. So maybe not. Nurgle Ogres are not bad. They're also not super amazing, but they're not bad. The thing is, you're trying to not die to Kite. So I think you really do just have to Plague Bearer spam it. I almost want to just get another chariot so I can capture points faster, but you got to get the infantry there. I wonder what would have happened if he had skink skirmishers too. Would they have wrecked me? Because like they probably do a lot of damage to normal plague bearers, right? Then again, they don't really do well versus chariots, and they definitely can't melee them. But capture they can do. the anti-large plague ogre is worth it if you expect lizard monsters. No. The troglodyons that we saw against Charix would just delete them. He's good enough at kiting where he's not going to get his single entities caught without punishing you for it. So like the salamanders would just annihilate them. Not enough armor, the large. You need some way of dealing with the salamanders. Is Kugath ever a play? Kugath is a play versus vampire counts for sure. No, I almost, against Charix, I almost just want to start with a bunch of dogs and chariots. Push them back. And then summon in a million plague bearers. Because, in theory, it would be difficult for him to capture points, but I'm sure he'd find a way. Like, the dogs would definitely be able to bully the salamanders, though. That's the fun part. Maybe I leave one exalted in reserve and get, like, the doggos in. And then we capture the points early, and they can stop the skinks from being super annoying against me. Maybe. Nurgle's one of the strongest in campaign? Really? Kind of surprised. I feel like there's many other much stronger factions. Is losing 650 Furies to a 1600 Blood Knight a bad trade? Like, obviously not, right? But like, what player's gonna let you do that?
3 units of rank 9 exalted PBs, yes, festering count.
Oh, you want rank 9 exalted plague bearers? Alright. Alright. With the 20 Danish kroner. Oh, God. Alright. I'll see if I can fit it in. It depends on what my opponent is next round. If it's like a Charix or a Danican, I can't really. But I'm not in good faith. But we'll see. We'll see. Oh, boy. Everything is OP in campaign, but there's things that are just more OP for sure. Watch like Charix lose to Serica and have to play versus Charix again. Is it worth to mix in a cultist? What does a cultist do? You say he helps out, but like, what does he help out with? He can bring in a summon. He has a debuff that he can dish out in melee, but like my plague bearers already win the melee. They just want to not die to ranged fire. If I wanted them to not die to ranged fire, it would actually be much more funny to run this guy on foot at 900 with the festering shroud. Like literally just like a White King. Honestly, if you compare him to a White King, it's almost there, but he doesn't heal as much, so he's not quite White King material. It is pretty funny though that you can just get a dude with a 10% missile resist debuff. So these guys are actually the same stat line as Stooges. They obviously don't have the terror or the healing, so they are significantly worse. But fighty wise, they will. Oh, I guess they don't have the heal. We'll see. We'll see. If I feel like I can actually beat my opponent, I'd only have to cut one plague bearer. So it's honestly not the end of the world, like running this. It realistically does not change my build that much. And like chevrons are not completely useless either. I just have to make some slightly better plays. Cultist on a war shrine? On a war... How many times do I have to tell you guys that I'm gonna get shot up? Yeah, no, that would be the worst. On the war shrine, instant death to any ranged faction. Yeah, no, Nurgle doesn't need help in a melee fight. That's the big thing. I think Nurgle can literally win any melee fight in the game if they so choose to. I don't think any faction can out melee them. Not even Slaanesh or Khorne. Not in a proper grind. Although, but they can't outmaneuver them. So, like, I think in a land battle situation. What about 2 war shrines? I think against Khorne it's tussle, but I think Nurgle can still win. They got some crazy tools. I guess they don't have the anti-infantry, but straight up, if you bring Plague Ogres into Khorne, I bet they would crush it. And yeah, if you bring Kugath, oh my gosh, there's no way. No way Khorne can get the Kugath down. Armor sundering in melee. Oh, okay. So you're saying the cultists for sundered armor? That's true. Anyways, in the end, we don't have to worry about the melee grind. Also, cultist is very vulnerable to being sniped, and I kind of need to avoid that. When Wrathmongers and Skull Reapers be horrendous to deal with. Not against Kugath. So if you hunker down on 1 point with Kugath, you will beat Wrathmongers and Skull Reapers. Well, Skull Reapers just suck. I don't know what it is about them. But for Wrathmongers, the problem is when you have to get to your 2nd point. Because Kugath can't really help everywhere. And then you'll start getting mulched. But before then, you got a lot of great stuff here. And also Plague Ogres probably beat Wrathmongers if you just cycle charge them. But that's kind of TBD. I'm not entirely sure. Epidemius? No, Epidemius sucks. Even Turin says Epidemius is like the weakest lord. When Turin says Epidemius is the weakest lord, you better believe him. Festus heal. Also doesn't help. You guys are obsessed with easily snipeable foot characters. I'm gonna get Charixed again. That's true. They have to run from Curse of the Leper, but honestly, they don't take that much damage from it, and it lasts like what, 30 seconds? And you can have 3 Wrathmongers attacking different areas. It's not like Curse of the Leper. It's just like a trump card that you just play and then it's over. Who's the most expensive lord? Is it Kugath? Nope, it's still Be'lakor. Epidemius is the memeiest lord. It's true. He has the damage reflect, the debuff. It lasts 16 seconds, which means it kind of sucks. The Tallyman's Blades. He can summon a unit of Exalted, which in theory is amazing. But yeah, the DPS is a little too slow. He has a slow though, with an explosion on himself. But if you're, yeah, like the thing about this is that it doesn't really swing the melee much. The difference is maybe this. Tally of Pestilence. Physical resist up the wazoo. 55 meters. In the end, this is not that much better than a Grail Relique. You're paying a lot of money to just get a Grail Relique. Oh my gosh, Swiss francs?
Is Kaisk a viable option? And wouldn't Doggo spam solve Lizardmen skirmishes?
No, Czech kroner? There's a Czech kroner. Yeah, that's a Czech kroner, my bad. That's not Swiss francs. What is the thing for Swiss franc again? Swiss franc abbreviation. Thank you very much though for the yeah, it's CHF, my bad. Thank you very much for the Czech kroner. Is Kaisk viable? And wouldn't Doggo spam solve Lizardmen skirmishers? So doggos can get warded off by a variety of Lizardmen tools. And they also can't really hold points very well. So while they're good against skirmishers, I don't think they fully solve it. Kaisk is okay. He doesn't have the HP to really kill something like a Krokgar. And he's really expensive, which will give you fewer units to work with, which doesn't really work with the Mantide style. Advance in the Swiss. Goblins. Round 4. Fight. I'm up against the Big H. Big? Where's my opponent? Find your opponent. The big H. The big... Ah. His name is Rogue AI. Yo, yo. Interesting. Haven't seen him before, but apparently he has 2 wins. Very interesting. So they are first pick. You're up first. Interesting, interesting. Yeah, CHF is Swiss francs. Maybe. The Rogue AI. Oh, he was in chat earlier? Yo, is this a viewer? Is this a viewer battle? Anyways, 2 wins is not super hard. I just lost to Charix early, so he kind of sent me into the pits. Bilious Thunderguff unironically goes hard versus Corn. I can kind of see that. It's a giant. With chevrons. It's like the terracotta thing that you were talking about, right? Alright, let's see this. So, I'm gonna play Nurgle. If not Nurgle, Betonia. If not Betonia, Demons of Chaos. We're getting sniped, oh god. We'll be fine. He's going Slaanesh. Ooh. You think Nurgle can beat Slaanesh? It bans Imperial Ambush. Okay. Huh. So, Changer's Madhouse is a very big map. Changers. And go. If I do Nurgle Demons of Chaos and Bretonia, he's just gonna fight Nurgle, isn't he? Do I really want to get massacred by Slaanesh? This would be an interesting... You know what? I think maybe I can beat Slaanesh on Skollendir's Cave. It's a little bit of a big map, but I think we should still be able to do it. If he goes against Betonia, we could try doing that. You got a whole bunch of other builds ready to go. Yep. Chaos Dwarf Blunderbuss. You guys want to see Plague Bearers with gold chevrons? Oh boy. Yeah, I just said Slaanesh can't win in melee. It's perfect. So we're on Skollendir's, oh, Skjaldnir's cave. There we go. Have such a slow army that Rampage can't hurt me. Okay, so he wants to play versus Nurgle. Oh boy. All right. Now, in this case, he has access to Pavane, which makes my Angels of Decay much worse, right? He's asking what the password is, which means that he's more likely to be a new player. Hell yeah. All right. So, against Slaanesh, what are the big problems here, right? It's like the Seekers, there's the Exalted Demonettes. I have answers to them, though. We definitely have answers, so... I can just do this, right? Can't I just do this and then we're fine? Ooh. Ooh, I like where this is going. I really like where this is going. Alright. So, he's playing Slaanesh. If I bring in doggos, they are almost guaranteed to get caught out and murdered. Which would be bad. Kugath, definitely so Kugath is interesting versus Slaanesh. If he ever gets in a fight versus Slaanesh, he'll do fine. But it's very easy for Slaanesh to avoid a fight with him. Some people opt for just a normal Great Unclean one. Kugath is not the worst though, because he has that Mortis engine. You do have to go pretty hard in the melee fight if you actually want to win it against Slaanesh, because the Demonettes, oh boy, their Demonettes will mess you up real bad. Ooh, interesting. What if I use this? I beat Slaanesh with vampire counts though, so anything's possible, right? Let's see here. I need magic attacks. Where can I get magic attacks? Slaanesh doesn't have artillery. I can artillery him though. Okay, this is an okay option. And then what if I run a bunch of these guys? And then we just wreck his face, right? What I could do? Oh boy. Oh, this is some forbidden tech now. Okay, wait. Just a darn second. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, this is actually some crazy forbidden tech. Although I barely don't have enough money to actually implement it how I want to. I guess it's probably just better. It's probably just safer and better, instead of going for the forbidden tech. Chariots are very risky versus Slaanesh. Would not recommend. Doggos are okay, but not the best in all situations because they route a lot. What you really need... Man, I wish I had Blood Knights here. Those Blood Knight lances kind of slap. But unfortunately, no, that is not an option. The biggest thing that I have to worry about is probably just Exalted Demonettes. So, it's not the worst. You know what? These are actually hype. Now, I must play this well. Kugath the no balls. Yo, Kugath is hype and all, but like... It is so easy to ignore, and it costs like all your money. Watch him bring Sigvald and Chosen Hell Scourges. Honestly, Chosen Hell Scourges are not even that great. I think, yeah, I don't really think they got the chops. We'll see. Yeah, you can't Pavane Kugath. That doesn't make any sense. Let's see here. I gotta make sure, you know, if I never let him build up his army ability, we're really set. So that's gonna be the plan. Terrified. Bloody terrified. I'm guessing, though, if he's a newer player, there's always a chance that he just kind of brings the wrong type of build, and then we insta-win. You guys will love this, though. You guys will absolutely love this. So we're on Skollendir's Cave. He has 2 wins. The winner will have a chance to make it to the semifinals, probably via the tiebreaker round. It's true, no one beats Kugath 1v1, but you don't have to. He's... Like, you can ignore Kugath. He's the slowest lord ever. Geez, this map's bigger than I remember. Why are these points so far away? Alright. I'm gonna need an army wide enough to bridge the gap between these 2 points. Once we get that, though, I'll have a chance. As you can see, we're redeeming that gold chevron plague bearer request. Alright, triple gold chevron. If I win this, alright, then I think we should be good. The idea here is that Slaanesh can't punch into this box. Ready. If he brings in his lord, I'm just gonna rancid visitations him. Goes for triple Forsaken. Plague Bearers should do pretty decent into Forsaken. And then Plague Ogres. Now, he does have a lot of skirms. Thankfully for me, he spent a lot of money on the Kari, which makes life a little simpler for me. Got a little toadies here. And how am I gonna deal with the Marauder Horsemen? We're just gonna eat it. Now, the units that I summon in have to be relatively resistant to them. So it could be more toads, but I think the best option are going to be my Rot Knights. Nakari has gone for Phantasmagoria Acquiescence. Not especially powerful against what I'm going to bring in. So that part's not really a big problem. And Exalteds are a great anti-skirmish tool, as you can see. Lots of pain on those guys. Lots and lots of pain. So he's actually going to have to pull back a little bit, as we already get our first route of the game. And I'm just building up for rancid visitations, man. Slaanesh hates getting lord sniped, because usually all their money is in their lords. Then I just have to hold on to these points for a little while. It's gonna be difficult. It's a little bit of dodging there. Microing with his skirmishers. Slow and steady wins the race. Papa Nurgle always told me. And once these Rotting Riders are in, they'll be great, because they actually have magic damage. Magic attacks on them will be huge. There we go. Capture point secured. Capture point number 1, looking pretty fine. I can't let myself get killed by the Eternal Entourage, though. He hasn't captured the far point, however, which is actually pretty bad for him. He really needs that capture point if he's to do well here. Most of his skirmish shots are just kind of poking away at my Exalteds, but none of them are really getting through to them. So with the first capture point secured, now all we gotta do is just slowly make our way up to the next one. While Nakari is slightly busy. There's no way he can actually capture this. Nakari's gonna be busy for a while. At least 20 seconds and then moving back here. So I can actually gain a lot of ground in this case. A lot of fancy skirmisher shenanigans, but Exalteds don't really care about getting shot a little bit. It's painful. It's not the most optimal thing in the world, but we've already established a little bit of our bunker type situation here, right? I got my box. I got my Exalteds facing outwards, and I'm just not providing any opportunity for him to flank. And then we're just gonna stick with that forever. Literally, yeah, that's it. That's the whole strat. The rest is just a bunch of mobility. Plague Ogres versus Chaos Knights, we'll have to see. At least these Plague Bearers here can probably get their shots off. These ones are having a little bit of a hard time acquiring targets. But if he trades 2 Horsemen for 1 Plague Bearer, it's actually not the worst for him. These ones might get a pretty sick volley. Some Hellstriders are not a big issue. And we do capture our second victory point of the day. So now that he's pushing off here, we gotta consolidate. Ogres will be great. It looks like he's going for my reinforcements, so I might actually have to pull back a couple forces just to protect them. He's obviously being real annoying with his pokening, right? He's just kind of chilling here. But if he can't get a flank off, he really don't got anything on me. So let's keep playing safe with our boys. The Plague Ogres should be able to survive their little transitory maneuver here. And he's not going to be able to capture my point, which is definitely a nice plus. You know what? I'll take it. Got to be careful about this group over here, though. One wrong move and they're gone. They're donezo. Ogre should be able to charge a Forsaken, however. That'll be pretty good. These Rot Knights give terror, though ITP is a menace. Let's see how this pans out. Okay, looks like he's just gonna play keep away. So no running him down there. As he's gonna bring in his Hellstriders here, which I can just countercharge. I have the mass to just sit back and relax against them. We don't really have to engage. I don't have to engage at all. We can sit back and chill. Now, Rotting Riders versus the Eternal Entourage. How do we feel about that? Looking like the Deeps is going pretty well. I can summon in some cavalry now to help out. Rotting Riders certainly taking a lot of damage. They're gonna try and disengage to survive and save themselves while we overcast Rancid on Nakari. As it stands, Rotting Riders do live. Eternal Entourage looking a little bit worse for wear. They might even get countercharged and smushed here. A kill on them would be amazing, because he really doesn't have a lot of dudes here, right? Doesn't really have that many dudes to save them. And they do get fairly well caught up. Okay. It's mostly his skirmishers too, which we know can't really do much. Good stuff. Rotting Riders got the route there. Eternal Entourage, unfortunately, they are going to be brutalizing my poor Chaos Knights. Gotta be super careful about those guys. Thankfully, though, we have captured many of his points. Although he does rout off my very elite cavalry. Painful indeed. Nakari has yet to heal, though, at least, which is good. Hellstriders, not the biggest issue in the world either. And we will get a second Rancid Visitations on Nakari. Most of his cavalry is going down the drain. And the Plague Bearers are fighting his Forsaken, which we know that they can probably win. Now that's a second Rancid Visitations. Very nice. Followed by a slow on all of these guys to maybe peel for the Knights. As most of his skirmishing forces are now getting caught. The Rotting Riders did manage to survive. And now it's starting to look pretty bad for my opponent, yeah. Trading wise, he made some pretty big misplays. And now we are up trading massively compared to him. Very huge. I'm just gonna have to regroup though, after we're done chasing these guys off the battlefield. For time is limited. These Plague Bearers will die too, which means Nakari heals. Unfortunate. Can't really afford to give Nakari too many heals. Gets a good number of kills, but I think overall that trade was still really good. As soon as we reconsolidate, you can see my army is just massive compared to his. 13 to 9. Most of his units are injured. Many of mine are still very good in terms of health. And we will have a Rancid Visitation soon. My Rotting Riders lost half their entities, so they'll be healing for some time yet. Even the Plague Ogres are still chilling. Hell yeah. And I can get another Plague Ogre summoning. Very nice. There you go. Pretty good night charge on his cavalry too. These toads are much scarier than you'd expect also. By the way, the plague toads are good because they have magic damage, and I just need that second capture point. Now there they are, the Bringers of Beguilement. What a pain they are. However, we know plague toads absolutely uptrade into them, so that should be no issue for me. Now will he try to go for a rotation here or what? I got to be a little bit careful about this engagement. But I should be able to take the fights that I want to, given my larger army size. So infantry first. And we have lots of time on our hands. You can see they're actually going for the flank, which is pretty comfy for me. It's too risky to summon in infantry right now. And he's just going to go for it. Okay. Goes for the big fight. Now, I can get another Rancid on Nakari. And I could probably jump his cavalry over here. Toadies can fight the Bringers of Beguilement. Maybe I can even get a little bit of a switcheroo there. And you can see by just not being flanked, we're sitting pretty comfortable. Just don't be flanked. Just never be flanked against Slaanesh. It ain't over yet though. Now, his Bringers of Beguilement are definitely in a bad position. And he's just bringing some normal Hell Scourges here. They should not be a big issue. Nakaria is dangerously low right now, which is a huge plus. And we did annihilate that frontline fight. Honestly, I think we're actually going to do it. I think we're actually going to do it with the gold chevron dudes. Holy crap. All right. It ain't over just yet, though. He's going to be trying to maneuver back to potentially catch this flank. And we don't have Curse of the Slug just yet. So we got to be a little careful. I'm never going to play for this point. It's simply not worth it. But using the Toads to fight the Bringers of Beguilement definitely was a huge dub. Seekers of Slaanesh are coming on in. But the Ogres and the Cavalry Corps are coming back to save the situation. And I just got to keep making sure I trade up. That's the only way we possibly do this here. Because he's always going to be faster than me. So up trading is the name of the game. Let's get our Cav Corps in there. He actually brings in more skirmishers, which should be pretty rough for him. There's a slow. Bring him down to my speed. All right, there we go. Chaos Knights can chase him off. We're going to hunker down here with our Exalteds. I am out of wins, unfortunately, but overall, in theory, this fight goes well for us with all the Plague Bearers and the Ogres, but it's always a little bit of a toss-up with that Eternal Entourage in there causing me so much pain. We're going to see if we can stabilize leadership. Nakari does get the heal. Will he be able to pull it back? We'll see. Bringers of Beguilement are definitely going to be a big issue here. Yeah, I got a lot of Plague Ogres, but yeah, he's actually cooking pretty hard here. And I'm kind of running out of units to summon onto the battlefield. Now, it seems like most of my guys should be able to outgrind. The Rotting Riders will live, but point-wise, it's going to get closer. Nakari, unfortunately, will be able to survive, too. We're down our Knights, but he's also down his Cavalry, so it can't be the end of the world. Especially with my infantry over here, being able to rotate a potato around. I just got to be super careful with that Lord of mine. Should be able to charge the Furies at least with my magic damage, dudes. That's a lot of Furies. Certainly a lot of Furies. Look at that. Toadies are in. He still has the Eternal Entourage, though. As long as they're sticking around, life can always be painful. Though that's a very nice slow. Gonna save me from potentially a devastating charge. Bringers of Beguilement are in. Exalteds are going on in here to try and secure the point. These Exalted Plague Bearers against Forsaken will be interesting. We'll just have to countercharge them. Hope that we don't get flanked here. We're gonna see if we can save our flank. Over here on the flank side, looks like the Ogres are actually kind of crushing it, but he is going for that Lord Snipe now. Now the Exalteds can hold, they'll be fine. This one could probably capture that point. What I really need though is this capture point. If we don't get it, it's just so over, right? Lord is routed too, which is painful. And he actually brings Nakari back onto the point. Oh, that's bad. That's very bad. I think he's gonna win it. I think he's barely gonna win it. It's always a toss-up though, right? So he nets my Lord. Nakari's not on the point again. Lord's routed. Plague Bearers are coming on in, but he has his Cavalry. I'm surprised he's not committing them yet. Over here, you can see my Exalted Plague Bearers are doing well, at least. And over here, he's trying to get a flank on. You can see, yeah, he's barely holding on. Dude, the Bringers of Beguilement. The Bringers of Beguilement are barely sticking to it. Hellstrider stalled that point. Should have seen that coming. And yeah, Lord's dead. Dang. Even with the mega trades early on, the mobility and keeping Nakari alive ended up screwing us. Brutality. Brutality. Maybe I should have just waited for Nakari to run out of juice. But unless I can capture this point and this far point, it's over. Brutal. Yeah, he barely got me. Dang, dude. The Eternal Entourage living was such a pain. They were very, very difficult to deal with. It's a fun Nurgle day, though. It's a fun Nurgle day. Yeah. I'll play it out. Well, let's see. This is impossible to retake, right? I guess I'll send a toad in. I was really hoping the toads would kill the bringers a little bit better, but they just didn't. Nakari, yeah, Nakari just didn't run out of juice. Now, if I brought Kugat here, it would have been easier for him to just ignore him. He played the map well. If the map was like an Itza, I think we would have been in a better situation, but GG, well played. I think that's about as best of a Nurgle game as I could have gone on that map. 285, there we go. GG. You can see the Exalted Plague Bearers. They didn't do bad. In the end, the Gold Chevron Exalted Plague Bearers did put me slightly behind, but not enough where I think it would have made a difference that game. The bigger issue was just it being Slaanesh, right? Plague Bearers did okay. I could have waited on 1 point just a little bit longer, because he did catch one Plague Bearer out. Yeah, and then like that might have done it. And the Chaos Knight Lances were just kind of disappointing. GG. Alrighty. Alrighty. Big map versus Slaanesh. Yeah. Well, it was a fun Nurgle day. I will have to save the other stuff for later. So we still have the Chaos Dwarf Blunderbuss. And the Rapant craziness. We'll try it out later. And we will now be able to cast Tiebreakers. That was Slaanesh versus Nurgle, and Slaanesh wins. Yeah, I like this format. This format's fun. You get some solid counter picking. As it stands, it seems like Danican, Sirika, the Big H, and Potatoes Devil are going to be making it to Tiebreakers. So we wait for that. Yeah, yo, the toads were kind of sad. Though, like, I don't know. Considering they were jumping the Eternal Entourage, I was really hoping they would have just deleted them. Because he sent the Eternal Entourage, like, into a pretty bad position. It's kind of surprising to me how badly the Toads did. Like, they were grinding in that fight for basically the entire time. 1 Chaos Knight and 3 cheap doggos? No, they would have just gotten massacred by the Eternal Entourage. The Chaos Knights. And the doggos would have routed to Nakari. He was keeping Nakari by him. The problem with the dogs is they just route. You could just try a completely different style and go full mobility. But then you're just playing a worse version of Slaanesh. Might just be a doomed matchup if they play it right. I'm gonna get some water. Dan, catching all his skirmishers early on, though, was so good, man. That one huge swing play, it just all kind of fell apart as soon as the Eternal Entourage came back. I think those 2 RORs are just way too killy for Nurgle to handle. You think, was Sword and Board Chaos Knights would have performed better? Since you have better melee defense? Nope. Absolutely not. Slaanesh has way too much melee attack. They would just punch through him. Angels of Decay. I think, yeah. Angels of Decay in back pocket, in case he doesn't have Rampage, would have actually won it for me there. Just be like, oh, he doesn't have Rampage. Angels of Decay. No amount of Furies will ever kill Angels of Decay. And then it probably would have just been a straight win. Though, I think that's just a misplay on my opponent. I think he should always have a rampager. But yeah, I know honestly, if I had the full air squad, I could have just killed all his elites. Like it would have been hella value, man. Would have been insane-o value. Such is life, though. All right, so we are now progressing into tiebreakers. As it stands, we only need to do one tiebreaker. Big H versus Potatoes Devil. All right. At the Big H, you are versus at Potatoes Devil for tie breaker. At Danican, at Serika, at Charix, please stand by. Spec slot, please! Exclamation mark. Geez, you want to see a campaign Kairos War Shrine build?
Campaign
Oh my gosh.
Kairos War Shrine build for tomorrow. I DM'd it to you.
I'll take a look. Jeez. You guys always have the craziest ideas. Okay, what is this? What is this? Let me see this. Thank you very much for the donation, though. It does actually help a lot. Let's see here. Tzeentch War Shrine. I might need to make some cuts to see if I can actually... If it's just another spell build, I'll probably have to tone it down a little bit once I face Charix, but early stages we can probably go full throttle. Let's see this. Let's see this. Want to see Kairos? With Blue Fire, Pendulum, Glean Magic, Staff of Tomorrow. No Fires of Change. You take everything else, and then you go double Cultist. Oh, it's this. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, it's the Gaze of Fate War Shrine build. Okay. This used to be OP. Back when War Shrine was insane. This is honestly, it's not the biggest investment. Usually I find extra magic is actually not as worth it. As you might expect. But I will hold on to it. I will hold on to it. Yeah, this is the... I might replace a Pendulum with Tzeentch's Firestorm. Tzeentch's Firestorm is just better. But, yeah, every time I see the magic bonuses, I think, like, Spellcasters do really well, but even something that gives you, like, plus 20 wins of magic tends to not be worth the gold. The reason Spellcasters are so good is because you start with magic, but anyways. We got a lobby to join. Here we go. Alrighty. Yeah, the problem with extra wins of magic is it doesn't actually do that much more for you. So if you think about it, if you bring a spellcaster, let's see here. If you bring a spellcaster for 450 gold, you can make use of 80 wins of magic, right? You can make use of 80 wins of magic from the get-go. If you spend an extra 2,000 gold, you can get another 80 wins of magic. But then you see the problem, right? Unless you can get some crazy spell casting in, but that's usually what the problem is. Doesn't mean that I won't run it though, especially against non-top players. Alrighty, here we go. Check the Discord, please. My bad. My bad, I gave your answer. Is there any option to have no rematches in the group stages? Yeah, you just have to you just have to wait for Turin's rework of Total Tavern. As soon as that website gets updated, It should fix things, but the only thing we can really do is wait. Rancid Visitation's Necromancy build on Warriors of Chaos is good because it beats the Necromancer meta. If you really need that little bit of oomph to Lord Snipe, I think that's when you want the magic. Especially for those more expensive Lord Sniping tools. Yeah. Someone, the Rise streams, exactly. A little bit of extra magic to kill like a Nakari would have done it. I think Spirit Leech spam would have been better there. Like get a horse, Spirit Leech spam Nakari. I think you would have just enough magic to wear him down while you sit back on 1 point. Dang. Only 2 wins with the Exalted Plaguebearer strat. I was hoping we could have main-tied it a little bit better. I think I genuinely had a chance versus Charix, though. It's a nice build to whip out like from time to time. I won't lie. Also, I think they nerfed the Forbidden Rod. I think they nerfed it. It costs like 1 million gold now to bring in multiplayer. It's just not worth it now. Magic Max Blue Scribes, yeah. It's a fun meme, it's a fun meme. But yeah, in the end though, the problem is, what's it? So 30 wins of magic, it's not worth it to pay 500 gold for 30 wins of magic. In most cases. Which, like, it seems insane that, like, you wouldn't want to get 30 wins of magic for 500 gold. But yeah. It's just not very worth. It's borderline worth if you can get the magic off, though. Some magic is a little bit better, but then you need the wins of magic. Recharge and all that, and then you end up spending for, like, you know, if you spend, like, 750 gold to get 60 wins of magic eventually, it's also not worth. So you really gotta figure it out. It was pretty funny when I was going Tzeentch magic builds. Anytime I go a magic build, as soon as I stop going for it, like with Cathay or like Tzeentch, it's so much stronger because I just have the money. But yeah. Oh, I got a question on Discord. Hell yeah. If you guys do have multiplayer questions, Discord is always a great time. Huh. Is a Mutilith and Severed Claw and Festus worth it versus Petonia? It's kind of sus. I think I'd honestly just go Warrior spam. Because these things will just die to Lewin. They just die to Lewin like really hard. Like extraordinarily hard. It's sad Cathay Magic Max doesn't work as well. Yeah. It's really weird because it feels like it should work. I think it just takes too long to get underway. If there was a faction with an absurd amount of Winds of Magic replenishment, and you can dish out spells 24/7. The thing is, you need like some really high impact spells. The other issue is spells don't always have good targets. After you get your Buna on their expensive cavalry, there's extreme diminishing returns on spells. So you end up spending an extra like 200, 300 gold just to run more spells to spend your magic. It's rough. I don't know. High elves, yeah. High elves, they do have some winds of magic replenishment. I've seen it taken a little bit, but it never sticks around. Same diminishing return issues, right? Like, you can have techless with the net. It's like so close, though. It's so close. I think if it wasn't so expensive to bring spells, it would be better. For whatever reason, CA made it where taking an extra spell costs like an absurd amount of money. Maybe I'll bring that up. I think they should get way cheaper after the first spell is taken. Because most of the value comes from being able to spend your base winds of magic. This makes the current system very punishing when it comes to taking spells. It can cost upwards of 300 gold just to have a little bit more utility, which also hurts spell diversity. That's kind of one of the big reasons why people just bring Melkoths, because it's a 100 gold spell. All right. Feedback is in. You know, spells reduce in cost by like 5 gold. You can't even get a chevron for the amount that they reduce in cost. It's sad. All right, let's take a look at this tiebreaker. Potatoes Devil versus Rogue AI. I can also advance the top 4. Go over here to the tournaments. Wednesday Swiss Pick and Ban. And then we're going to look at... let's see here, who's up. So this is the Big H. So that means at Dandican, at Charks, you guys can actually get started now if you want. We send them this link, and then Serika is going to be facing the winner of this match. Now, it's going to be a Khorne versus Warriors of Chaos type situation. Bloodwake Berserker Wrathmongers. Wrathmongers again. Marauders, Forsaken is pretty simple. And wow. For the Warriors of Chaos, it's the same thing. Marauders, Forsaken. Marauders, bots, but a Hell Cannon. Wait, oh, it's a Valkia mirror. It's a Valkia mirror. Oh my gosh. Wait, no, that's Azazel. I saw a little flying character lord. I thought it was Valkia. Well, that's interesting. They both have magic damage. Azazel's the one with the physical resist, though.
Keep it from the foe.
Phantasmagoria, Acquiescence, no Pavane. Well, you're not really gonna get skirmished here. Interesting. Valkia has anti-large. Not gonna help versus Azazel. There's actually no large units here, unless you count the Hell Cannon. So it's gonna be Demon Blade and Acquiescence. 25% more damage is not that much. Acquiescence is a decent debuff, though. Against Valkia's... Oh, dang. They actually have close to the exact same stats. So, in theory, Azazel should be able to beat Valkia. Surprised that he's deciding not to take the fight, though, while Valkia chases the Soul Grinder. But it could actually be a 5D chess play, because she's kind of getting distracted. But no. Just debating. Summoning in the Knights of Immolation over here. Rogue AI gonna be getting the sick Valkia around. Now these guys are large, so they don't do that well versus Valkia, but Valkia sucks. Along with an Azazel diving on in. If he throws Acquiescence, you will surely die. Potatoes Devil certainly looking a little sus right now. Good invuln. But Valkia escapes. Is she fast enough, though, on foot? It appears maybe not. And that's going to buy a lot of time for Azazel to get free hits. Oh, and the Phantasmagoria! Dude, that's an insane play. Phantasmagoria on grounded Valkia. Oh, the brutality. Oh, the brutality. Now, Korngors against Forsaken looks like they're actually winning somehow. The Wrathmongers are still doing good, but Valkia's in a bad position. Although she did go back up into the air somehow. Don't know how that works, but she's getting brutalized. Azazel is simply a raid boss in this particular circumstance, the way the melee stats are. And with support, there's no way Valkia will ever win this fight. Pretty brutal. Hell Cannon is still dismounted. Okay, I guess they really fear the Forsaken here. Valkia will get routed off. Acquiescence. Azazel has barely taken damage. Plus the Demon Blade too, to get that discouraged effect. She can be terror routed. Wow, that's sad. And she's gone. Only getting the shields off of the Knights of Immolation. Now that's Sadopsis. Potato Devil, truly an Anticity follower. With the Lord Throw. Now, what are the opportunities left for Khorne? Yes, Valkia may be dead, but they do have a very mean infantry fight. A double cap and a capture on the middle point is a very nice place to be. Knights of the Brazen Throne are very elite, and if they don't die to the Knights of Immolation, who cares if you don't have Valkia? You resummon her later, right? Just to annihilate the frontline fight, because like this Warriors of Chaos army just doesn't have any capture weight. There's about 5,000 gold in the air and another 1,500 on the ground as artillery. It's not going to be very pretty. And a cavalry summon gets completely hard countered by some doggos too. I don't really think they'll be winning there. All the Forsaken are mulched and running for the hills. And we're even seeing a troll fight in the trees against Wrathmongers. Are you kidding me? Never seen a better fight for Wrathmongers. Yeah, the armored, who cares? These are Wrathmongers. They do got to target the unit though. Still chasing the Doom Knights. But eventually when that fighting goes on, it'll be pretty rough. So overall, I'd say Khorne is actually in a much better position than you might expect. It's not that hard to resummon Valkia, and there's not that much of a risk of getting their units routed off the battlefield. Hellstriders will definitely be something to contend with though. And Azazel is a little out of position, having chased off the Valkia. But what can Azazel really do? So the Furies are just running a distraction game. This is a very quick trade. When you're down in material, you generally don't want to trade. But I guess, yeah, no, this is just a big loss of Furies, right? That's a really big loss of Furies. You don't want to just suicide units there. That's just painful. Hellstriders catch the doggos, but these are frenzy doggos. If we get a charge, maybe they save it. Another big misplay. Another big misplay from Potato's Devil. Doesn't get the charge in right away, and the Hellstriders do manage to escape. Though, if the dogs still up trade here, it's definitely a plus. Hellstriders here will take a long time to capture. And oh boy, the Chaos Knights of Khorne are coming on in. Red and furious, ignoring the Marauders as they charge straight into the Hellstriders. And with their frenzy attacks, they annihilate these guys, okay? Hellstriders don't do that well into lance armored cavalry. And especially since they didn't get the counter charge, they just get obliterated there. In the meantime, Knights of the Brazen Throne don't care about anything. The Knights of Immolation are caught in a pretty bad fight too. And this is pretty bad. Hell Cannon, you know, the constant dismounting has really roughed up its gold value. Only now is it starting to fire into the Wrathmongers, but the Wrathmongers have already gone 133 kills. Basically paid for themselves too. So I think this is actually going to go the way of Khorne. Despite the fairly early Lord loss, just being able to kill off all the infantry while that was happening. That's kind of all Khorne needs to do. Another shot from the artillery hits the Wrathmongers, who cares? Doggo's even winning their fight against the Hellstriders. It was a down trade, but you know, a win's a win when you get to control the points. Hellstriders over here are routed. Now what we got to see though is making sure that there's no overcommitments, right? If there's an overcommitment that ends up losing a lot of units on the Khorne side, it can still absolutely go wrong here. Alternatively, if they know that his opponent, if Potatoes Devil knows that his opponent doesn't have a lot of supplies, he can potentially go for some big plays. Given that there was a Halberd summon on the flank, it means that these Knights of the Brazen Throne can go more or less uncontested with their insane wacko stats. Fairly diminished, but they're still grinding it out fairly well. Fleshhounds too, also very nice for Marauder Horsemen. And these skirmishers just aren't really cooking too hard. We see a rout of the Chaos Armor Trolls. And a big charge from the Chaos Knights of Khorne. It's gonna be pretty devastating. Still not a lot of money left. And a huge bank for Potatoes Devil. Are we gonna see a Valkyrie resummon? Are we going to see a Valkyrie resummon to really secure things? It's not like Khorne really needs the leadership. Guess it feels away too. Summons in Minotaurs of Khorne. Leadership for your whole army and Valkia, or Minotaurs of Khorne. I guess Valkia really is that bad. Does not resummon Valkia. Just gonna be bringing in more anti-large, going for the deep dive in the back line. And even though Weird Spawn are on the battlefield, I don't think they're gonna cook very well against this much stuff. Though Knights of the Brave or Chaos Knights do have to retreat from them. I honestly feel like they might even win. Yeah, he's gonna commit. Triple cap continues. Dang. The true Inticity strat? Throw your lord and then win the game? What a classic. What an absolute classic. Looking pretty rough so far. Not really liking this situation. Just the most feeble bomb drop ever on a couple Marauders. Okay. But dang those Chaos Knights of Khorne, man. People are using Chaos Knights a lot more nowadays. Because armored cavalry certainly have an important niche to fill. We are seeing a Warrior Halberd unit though get on the point. They still have 4.5 capture weight. Doggos 1.8. You can see though, 2 capture weight is not a lot. It's painful. It's painful. It hurts. The suffering is real. And now it gets captured. Brutality on the side of the Warriors of Chaos, as they only just now get 1 capture point. But 1 capture point at 1,350 tickets is not a very comfortable place to be in. As the Minotaurs finish off the Weird Spawn. Over yonder, Hellstriders getting bullied. And 1 Marauder Horseman's not going to really capture too quickly. At 2.9, it's going to take a while. It's going to take at least half a minute. And in that time, triple cap will ensue. Well played to Potatoes Devil. They're going to be facing up against Serika Nerexa, another very strong player. By the way, to see if the range indicator is not a flat area, but a cone. What is this? And if its incline parameters is set when ordered to shoot and not rechecked after moving to another incline, that would explain most of the artillery / range unit jank, I'm pretty sure. I don't know what you're talking about, man. That sentence has like 50 words. By the way, to see if the range unit indicator is not a flat area but a cone. Okay, let's just reduce that to if the range indicator is a cone, which I don't even know what that part means. So if the range, what do you mean if the range indicator is a cone? What does that even mean? Are they not all cones? What is this incline parameter? Oh my gosh. These are not words that I understand in the Total War scene. I think what you mean is if it's a single entity and that makes it more cone-like? I feel like I already kind of understand why units don't shoot though. Um, but oh, you mean if they're a shotgun unit? All right. Yo, Knights of the Brazen Throne cooked, by the way. Very nice Chaos Knight micro too. So it should be verse Serika now. Bro, that's crazy though. I think it means a 3D cone instead of a flat. Do they not all have 3D cones? He means 3D cone. So you mean if they're a shotgun unit? You mean it's a 3D search instead of a 2D search? Are they not all 3D searches? And its incline parameters set when ordered to shoot. So are you talking about like gunpowder units? Because like almost all units have arcing fires. So like, oh boy. I'm gonna look up Devil, Potatoes Devil. There we go. So we add him in, and he's up against Serika. Potatoes Devil. All right. You can get Serika in. Liz, do it. Let's get this party started. I'm assuming we're talking about range jank. I think that's what's being talked about. There's a mod that fixes units' move speed to literally 0, and it fixes all the jank. It prevents units from trying to move before they shoot so much. That's hilarious. I will say, netted units do pretty well. But yeah, range jank, as far as I can tell, all right, none of this weird cone business. As far as I can tell, range unit jank stems from the fact that line of sight is very, very restrictive when it comes to shooting units that might be friendly fireable. We see that very often. And then when units don't have line of sight, they tend to march forwards. Also, if they have units that are a little bit too like separated, they want to go back into formation before they shoot again, which is another very big problem. And then there's the problem with hills, which hills can be unnaturally obstructive at times for units with really horizontal types of fire with not a lot of drop off. So units like the Luminarch that doesn't have a lot of drop off, I think it will run into a lot of line of sight issues. That's a lot of the range jank. There's also some animation problems and fire at will. So units with fire while moving, not fire at will, units with fire whilst moving tend to shoot faster. Now, I'm sure cone business fixes will fix it. I'm sure there's some weird cone business, you know, in the internal code stuff. I don't know how to fix it myself, but yeah, those are the main indicators that I've been able to see. Now, how is this not a problem like in Medieval 2? Yeah, between Warhammer 2 and Warhammer 3, CA tried to change how the units worked, and it botched everything for the next like 5 years. Yeah, it was literally something between Warhammer 2 and Warhammer 3. Warhammer 2 had fine range unit control. It felt beautiful, which is why Vampire Coast gun strats could actually work. And then they just threw a brick at the code. I don't know what they changed. Literally, if they just imported the same code from Warhammer 2 to Warhammer 3, it'd be fine. Unfortunately, I don't think that's a possibility anymore. As far as I can tell, I think they branched out of Warhammer 2 earlier on. And then it's just never recoverable. It's a mod called Hold Position. Try it out sometime on campaign. Mayhaps, mayhaps. I'm crying in Chaos Dwarf. That's actually what Zulahu means. It expresses the great suffering of the Chaos Dowie. That's why you hear it so often. You forgot about what was this? The essence of the game, of the game code. It's about the cones. Yes, everything. It's cones all the way down. But yes, 100%. Whatever they did going into Warhammer 3, that's what it was. What do you mean by Vampire Coast gun strats? 5 years ago, when I was named the Kraken King, known as one of the best Vampire Coast players in the world, I would take 12 ranged coast units in every game and crush face with people. Because anytime a cavalry flank would start to loop around to the side, I could just turn my guns and shoot at the cavalry and rout them off before they die of my guns. Currently, guns take an extra 3 to 5 seconds sometimes to shoot, which has completely murdered these types of strategies where gun units can defend themselves. Unless they have firewall moving, which is why zombie pistol mobs are doing really well. But they only do well versus light cavalry. But yeah, I'm pretty sure in Warhammer 2, if you had a monstrous unit fighting a unit of infantry, your ranged gunpowder units could shoot the monstrous infantry. I'm pretty sure. Definitely, they would have a pretty decent time shooting at the cavalry, just like right over the heads of your infantry. Which makes sense, because if you actually zoom in, it's pretty obvious that you'd be able to shoot at the cavalry. Like the line of sight, like some of the cavalry is huge in this game. Obviously, you know, it's a little sus, because like in reality, you know, you'd be shooting some of your friendlies. I think that would be a huge hit to morale. But in terms of line of sight, it should be there. It should be there. But yeah, it's very hard to shoot into combat nowadays. Some people make it work though, by using like long formations on their infantry. Then it's not the worst. You can use taller units like Ogre Maneater pistols. They're pretty nice. That was something they screwed up in Warhammer 3. Yo, so many things. Warhammer 3 launch was objectively worse than Warhammer 2. You had fewer factions, you had a less polished product. The bloom was through the roof, all right? Remember getting flash banged on ice maps? You guys remember that? A lot of the skyboxes were ruined on a lot of old maps. The list goes on. It is now objectively better than Warhammer 2. Outside of a few edge cases that maybe you can make an argument for, but it's pretty clear it's a better product now. Oh man, still so many things to go. Dude, Warhammer launch was actually the worst thing ever for the community. I have not seen more content creators have to give up being a content creator than when Warhammer 3 launched. What should have been, I don't like using the word should, but at least what many people were hoping for was that Warhammer 3 would launch their careers into the stratosphere. But most content creators lost half of their viewership after the early phase of Warhammer 3 launch from the golden era of Warhammer 2. Now, I don't have to tell you that losing half of your income is a bad time. That is like insanely bad. Imagine if you woke up tomorrow, your boss has been telling you that the company's gonna launch a new product, there's gonna be raises across the board, and you go from like 100K salary to 50K, or you go 50K to 25K. That is not very nice of a feeling. Oh my gosh, it was so brutal. Oh man, part of it was COVID ending. Let's see here. I guess like partially, but like COVID ending viewership for other streamers was not nearly as dramatic. If viewership dropped 50%, at most optimistic for the Warhammer side, I think they contributed 25% of that. Still coping that 40k will be better on launch. 40k will have a rough launch, but it will still probably be something so fresh and new that it'll draw in a lot of people. Like Warhammer 1 was very janky if you think about it, but it was such an innovation to the Total War formula that it was kind of hype regardless. And I think if they if 40k is not just a copy paste, that's kind of what I'm hoping for. But I'm no game developer. I don't actually know what'll actually do well in the market. But as far as I can tell, right, it's these major innovations that do it. Like Warhammer Total War, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Warhammer Total War did not feel like any other Total War game previously. You had magic, you had monsters, right? You had like sieges were the same. Sieges were completely the same, but you had magic, you had monsters, you had a variety of factions with different rosters, right? That played differently. I feel like we need like a new mechanic for 40k. I feel like some kind of new mechanic that's like, wow, that's like something they brought in from tabletop that just like did not exist. You know, maybe a revamped spell casting system with like actual counter spelling. I don't know. And then people are like, wow, the spell casting system's so much more dynamic in this game. Oh my gosh. That would be hype. Or like, wow, unit interactions. Unit interactions are so much more dynamic. It's not just all about mass and impact damage. There's like, I don't know. Yo, anyone else think the way land ships work is going to be how the... Aren't the Warhammer 40k tanks, they have like adjustable weapons that you can put on them, right? They have adjustable weapons. What if for 40k they're like, your units are fully customizable? None of this Marauder and then Marauder Great Weapon type shenanigans, right? You can now fully customize your units with whatever loadout you want, and it will make them perform differently, right? You can have a tank with like a rocket launcher on the side, and like its main cannon is like anti-tank whatever. I don't know, I never played tabletop, but it's kind of what I think it is, right? Yeah, that'd be sick. That'd be amazing. Blow my mind. Games Workshop will veto that 100%. Isn't that how the tabletop works though? Anyways, they gotta have something new. Otherwise it's just Warhammer with another coat of paint, which will be good enough probably, but we'll see. That's how it is in tabletop. Yeah, just like, you know, just take inspiration from tabletop. Tabletop has so much inspiration to steal from. Or hell, can we get a Warhammer 4 with like banners system? I feel like, you know, banners and musicians would be such a huge game changer. I think people would be like, a lot of tabletop people will be like, whoa. That's new. That's new. That's pretty interesting. I wonder how that like interacts with the game mechanics. Anyways, enough fantasizing. We got Slaanesh. Are people really loving Phantasmagoria lately? It's like the third time I've seen Phantasmagoria. It's a 14 Winds of Magic spell that has not really done that much. It netted Valkia for 11 seconds, and then she flew up into the air. We'll see. Maybe it's just a hit or miss type situation. I would love to see a Phantasmagoria meta, but I am still obviously very skeptical. Chaos Knights of Slaanesh, non-Lance variant. Very interesting to see. I love how they buffed the Lance variant and people started running the normal Chaos Knights again. Very, very funny. And we're going to see Wild Riders. Glade Guard. 3 Glade Guard, lots of infantry. Now, if there's one thing I'd be worried about, it's that the Wood Elves are playing a little wide right now. Slaanesh is going for that battering ram mode, right? So potentially we could see some shenanigans. We got some trees and some Slaanesh buildings. Very fun. Generally, the way this goes is that the Slaanesh versus Wood Elf fight is fairly even. And it's tipped in the favor of Slaanesh using, like, you know, a Nakari or a Keeper of Secrets. Wood Elves, on the other hand, beat that by having just a couple of range units. Spellweaver of Dark with Doombolt. Love to see it. There's a lot of trees on this map, though, so playing Keep Away is not impossible. What are you guys talking about? Yeah, 40k Total War speculation. We see Branch Wraith with Melkoths, which is going to be the main spellcaster. I don't think he really wants to leave with this Spellweaver of Dark. And it's going to be an early triple cap, too. Certainly a lot of Marauders and Forsaken. But what is Slaanesh going to do, right? The onus is on Slaanesh to make a big push and to shut down these guys in a melee fight. It seems like the option that they've opted to go for is a Sibilant Slaughtercade, a Chaos Chariot, which is very effective at clearing infantry with its devastating flanker. However, not very good versus Wild Riders, so this is going to be a high intensity micro battle for these guys. Let's see. Yes, pure speculation, pure speculation. Seems like it's going to be maybe a build-up strat for Slaanesh. There's some very passive play, right? I don't really like this. Just kind of dancing around, dodging the Glade Guard Hagbane tips. The problem with this is that ammunition is cheap. There's no such thing as trading HP for ammunition. It's simply not worth it. He's going to see now the Doombolt. If he keeps moving forward with the Herald and she dies to Doombolt, it's a big misplay. Okay, I like this though, going for the net. I don't like the overextension though. He's asking to get Doombolted. This is where people are gonna say Doombolt is OP. He saw that coming miles away. He did not need to engage here. Doombolt lands, half HP gone. Friendly fires the Dryads. So now you should run. All right, you've used up the magic here. Now you should run for your life. Sibilant Slaughtercade does get some killing here. This is a cheapo lord with one spell. She can camp in the trees forever. And what are we looking at? Little bit of deeps all around. What are you doing? Are you trying to die? Are you trying to make a point that Doombolt is bad when you let your lord die to it? Run for your life. What are you doing? All right. Yeah, no, she's literally just marching forwards. Oh my gosh, what is this even? All right. She's seeking death. I thought it was going to be a sick play where you burn 14 Winds of Magic and then you go, ha, and then you leave. And then they have 3 less Melkoths, which would actually be a really nice trade. Now it's a little sus. The frontline fight is still going very well, though. Run! 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 They're gonna say Doombolt's OP again! Oh, hell yeah. There you go. That's the Phantasmagoria. You know, in this case, it does actually route some Blade Singers a little bit earlier, so I guess maybe it's worth. Okay, stop toying with that. She doesn't have the ability cooldown. Come on, it's so easy. Just right click away. What are you, me? There you go. There you go. There's the keep away. So as long as he plays keep away, the Wood Elves are just straight up down 14 Winds of Magic, which is a great time. All right, they need that magic to kill your cavalry, so it's perfect. It has 200-meter range, though. Come on, what are you doing? You just lost half your HP. Oh my gosh. All right, you know what? There's no helping him. The Hellstriders is still doing well, though. Slaaneshi infantry fights are going well. He did lose his Chaos Knights, though. And yeah, there's the other Overcast Doombolt. Now, you can use the trees. Unfortunately, he did not. Alright. And she's dead. I guess Doombolt's OP. How am I supposed to play against Doombolt? There's literally nothing I can do. I can't believe they released such a broken spell. That was literally unavoidable. I can't believe it. And now everything's routing. Alright, well, there you go. Now, I think Slaanesh would have lost with or without the Doombolt, because they were already losing the infantry grind, but this definitely... Slaanesh is rage baiting now, I swear to God. Oh, man. Come on, man. Come on. You had everything you needed. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, well, there you go. We'll see if Nerex's Doombolting manages to win against, I think it's Charix. Charix has some pretty sick plays to Doombolt. He knows how to play around it. Oh my gosh. I don't think don't be within 200 meters is a fair solution to a spell. It's very close to what Gaze of Nagash is. If you actually look at Gaze of Nagash, it does the same amount of damage. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. You could also bring a Keeper of Secrets. Keeper of Secrets can actually tank a Doombolt for a long enough time to still heal in melee. You can bring her on foot to make her even cheaper. Here's the thing, right? He could have killed that Lord with literally any sniping spell. He could have brought Arcane Unforging. He could have brought... Well, they don't have access to Spirit Leech, but he could have brought, like... He could have brought anything. She was dead with how she was playing. Like, any sniping spell. You know, usually Wood Elves don't have a sniping spell, which is true, but... you just don't do that. It's also not hard to stay outside of 100 meter range. You can get all your magic out with the caster while playing Keep Away. Hell, just look at Charix. Just look at what Charix does. Charix went for a super mobile flying lord. There's reason to believe that Azazel could dodge a Doombolt if he's like a L'Ariel. If he can dodge half the Doombolt hits, that would also be a very nice way to win it. Honestly, I think Azazel would probably be your best bet because he can play Keep Away and he can probably dodge most of the hits. Plus, that map had a lot of trees. So not only can you stealth and cast magic from the trees, you can also get a lot of value just by using the trees to block Doombolt. Oh my gosh. Potatoes Devil, you gotta look at their abilities, man. You gotta look at their abilities, man. It was a good build though, like you had a good build, but you gotta select the Lord, look at their abilities, and then if you see they have Doombolt, you have to play Keep Away. Also, I really don't like Phantasmagoria, but that's just me backseating at this point. I didn't make it to semis. Man. Yeah, okay. Look, here's the thing. If Charix dies to Doombolt, alright, I'm happy to say that it's hella OP. Charix, when I brought Doombolt against him though, it felt unstoppable. Like, it felt like I was wasting my magic. So I'm really interested to see what he does here. But yeah, this is like, oh man. I swear. People just ban things that they don't know how to deal with every time. I'm aware it's strong though. I'm aware it's definitely one of the strongest sniping spells. Is Charix really the bar? Well, it's not that hard to run in a circle with the Flying Lord. I think that's the first thing like every Total War player learns. The bar is just learning the counterplay. Now, like, Doombolt might be a pub stomper for sure, but you also have like Khorne, which is a pub stomper. We're not gonna ban Khorne here because Khorne can beat people who don't know how to kite, right? Let's see though. Let's see. I would love to see more of this because what we're really lacking is data, right? I think people have a lot of this initial like gut feeling when their lord gets doom bolted and they're like, there's nothing I can do. It's literally impossible. But I would really love to see how this pans out. Can't you just you can get lucky and Doombolt will just whiff, though that's fairly unlikely for horse characters. Doombolt is the most accurate I find versus horse characters, and it's pretty good versus infantry. It's way worse against chariots, and it's way worse against flying chariots. Weirdly enough, flying chariots will dodge Doombolt like 75% of the time, so there are some just like ultra hard counters to it. But we'll see. I will say though, rancid visitations will is way more expensive than Doombolt. More expensive, less range. So like Doombolt is better. I don't think rancid visitations is that close to being super OP, but you know, like if rancid visitations was 14 winds of magic and 200-meter range, like that would be pretty spicy, right? That would be pretty spicy. I remember when you asked for data for weeks about Seekers. Seekers of Slaanesh 2 were... the biggest problem was they were super effective against single entities, but I actually allowed Seekers for Demons of Chaos for most of that time, and they were not that bad. It was actually fairly average. Like Seekers, they, you know, like if you actually look at the changes, not that much change about Seekers. But like suddenly everyone's like, whoa, it's totally fine now, right? The difference between like hella OP and not OP was actually not that much, it turns out. Although I will say that when they surrounded single entities, they did dumpster them. Like that was pretty aggressive. But like, yeah, there's the other thing where like, you know, like, so the biggest way to get me to ban something is by running it in my tournaments and proving to me that it is truly abusive. So if you want to show me that Doombolt is OP, I want you to win a tournament with Doombolt. In theory, the best case scenario is a player that is weaker, generally regarded to be weaker than a lot of the top players, brings Doombolt, and the top players lose. Like, you know, and it shows that Doombolt is clearly like, it gives you such a huge advantage that you just can't beat them. Right? I think that's something that makes sense to be banned. You know. Oh, it looks like I'm the one that gets it ready up. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it was like -2 melee attack. It was like -4 melee stats or something. And then they don't clump up as much. It's arguable to say that the biggest thing was the clumping, though. That's not a good metric for testing. Why not? No, actually, though, why not? I'm genuinely curious. Like this is as low stakes as it gets, right? Like this tournament literally does not matter in the grand scheme of things. You can qualify with or without my tournaments. It's very easy to get into Turin's tournaments. There's no money on the line. Now, I'm not saying like, you know, like I'm saying like an A tier player can beat like an S tier player is what we're looking for. Let's see here. So are these players ready yet? I got a message. Are they ready? We're settled on Chateau for the map. All right. Chateau Roquefort. Sample size is too small. So then what's the alternative though? What's the alternative? I'm aware the sample size is small though. But a lot of the alternative that people are proposing is to reduce the sample size more and just ban the ability. Which, like, you know, you could just say that, like, there's no way we could test this. The only safe thing to do is to ban it, but that's kind of a slippery slope. Let's say they don't take the slippery slope, though. I don't know. You mean Boss Toss's Grand Cathay? They were OP. Well, yeah, we'd have to look for consistency and stuff, right? It would have to, like, you know, you can analyze how many misplays players make in a game. And then be like, oh yeah, this guy played basically perfectly and the Doombolt's really just shredding him. I will accept the argument of vibes. There's, you know, one of the most irrefutable arguments is to say Doombolt is not a fun spell. I don't want to see it because it's kind of boring, right? It's just a point and click spell that kind of just wrecks their lord, right? Which I actually do agree with. I think Doombolt could be a much more exciting spell. The problem is if you ban Doombolt, the next spell that they run is Melkoth's. And if we're talking about point and click deletes, Melkoth's is more boring than Doombolt. So in terms of fun factor, I don't think there's a huge change. For me, I think it's a lot more interesting to see a new spell in the scene. So I'm actually kind of happy to just see how it interacts, especially because when they do eventually nerf Doombolt, then people will kind of, you know, they'll kind of know the vibe of the spell. They'll know how to play around it and all that. You kind of saw this with Slaanesh. Slaanesh got mildly nerfed. And then their win rate just plummeted, right? Or it was literally just Pavane, because people were training how to deal with Pavane. So now that it's back in a weaker state, it's like people completely know how to deal with it now. You know, like people aren't even running the spell right now. There's reason to believe that Pavane was over-nerfed because people were overreacting. And I kind of don't want that again, right? Imagine we just go from like constant, like, if every spell gets treated like Pavane, what's going to happen is we're going to have a scene where Pavane is OP and it doesn't see play. Then it gets over-nerfed and then it doesn't see play. And then we never see Pavane and then it's freaking Melkoth's forever. I don't want Melkoth's all the time. Anyways, we're seeing Wood Elves versus Tomb Kings. So this will actually be a really interesting way to see if Charx has a counter to the Doombolten. Is he gonna bring a Spellcaster Lord? Is he gonna bring a Spellcaster Lord and play Keep Away? Is he just going to walk forward and stick in range for a minute and get murdered? Will he try bringing big single entities? Will they go down? Is he gonna try to Lord Snipe himself so that Doombolt can't constantly be chucked out? I would really like to see. Yeah, anyways, the best solution is to make buff spells good. Nerfing the best thing never really gets us very far, because then you just get the next best thing. Like, if they nerf Doombolt and then they nerf Melkoth, then it's probably Flock of Doom, or back to Doombolt, or, you know. Interesting. So what we got? Let's see if this spell has counterplay. And let's see how difficult it is to make use of the counterplay. Let us see. I'm really interested to see how it works in practice. But will he run Doombolt? Will he actually run Doombolt is the big question. Sirika. If he doesn't run Doombolt, he does. He runs Doombolt and Blade Wind. Now this is really interesting. If Doombolt is OP, why is he running Blade Wind? Maybe he just really needs a utility. Okay. Maybe he just really wants to dish out a lot of pain at the same time. It's not too uncommon that you see 2 spells. But I will say, if something's really OP, it's weird that that's not the only thing you're spamming. Maybe it's after he kills a lord, he still has magic to spend. Maybe it's so OP that it's worth having a second spell. A lot of reasons to believe that, you know, there is actually a reason for that. Now, this is traditionally a really bad matchup for the Dark Elves. Chaff clearing is going to be important. Yep. So let's see how this goes. They do completely different things. Dude, you should see how often people just bring Burning Head. It's hilarious. Yo, when Burning Head and Pendulum were super OP, when they were like twice as strong as they were, trust me, people, you would only bring like a Flaming Sword for the magic damage utility. So we'll see if we'll see how Blade Wind does, how that utility goes. It's not bad to have utility, especially because I think he's trying to hard counter it. So he's actually going for the double foot character, Lich Priest of Nehekara, and the Tomb King. Now Doombolt can absolutely Wreck-A-Reno these guys, and they don't really have too many options to dodge. I'm wondering if he's going to try using these trees to block it though. It's not entirely unreasonable that you can kind of loop around a tree. But we'll take a look. Wood Elves get their first capture point, but they are getting shot at. We'll see how it goes. I'm willing to be proven wrong. Trees are keeping them in the forest. We're gonna see a chariot summon to start off with, all right. And this is a pretty classic Tomb King's Mantide, with just a little bit to punish any big Wood Elf units. Tomb King magic will be interesting. He's brought Skullstorm and the Incantation of Vengeance. Also with the double spell combo, one for cavalry, one for infantry. So you can see the Dryads did take, it was pretty not worthwhile trade, right? Oh, interesting, the Loic's Blessing, all right. So Loic's Blessing is gonna be moving on up with his lord. There's no spotter. How cheap is this Tomb King? Oh geez, it's literally a free Tomb King. All right, it is a minimum cost Tomb King. Doombolt gets cast. If he's too close, he's going to get hit too. He's gonna get hit too. Is he gonna split him? No. Oh, Tomb King takes a little bit of damage. That did no damage though. Oh, spell resist. Oh my gosh, Charix the goat. Was that 14 winds of magic? Oh my god, what a god! Dude, oh, ban this spell right now. Ban this item. It's too OP. We found something more OP than Doombolt. Oh! Yeah, no, I guess Doombolt is just, you need too much skill. You need too much skill to counter Doombolt. I have to click an ability? I can't do that. Warhammer's skill ceiling's too insane. Alright, clearly this game's too difficult. Alright? What we need is to remove everything from the game. I'm obviously memeing. I'm aware Doombolt's still really strong. It should definitely get nerfed, but that is hilarious. That's hilarious. Is this a multi-use? It's multi-use. Every 2 minutes he can just counter it. Now we'll see if he has enough to make use of it. So if he goes for another Loic's Blessing, he could beat the cooldown on this, and it's almost like we actually have counterplay right now. So Charix is saying, yeah, can you actually get back on these guys in 2 minutes, or am I going to get my cooldown back? We'll see, because that really delays the Wood Elf strategy of just stalling forever, right? It will really delay their strategy. So even though he might eventually kill the Lord, it's going to come way too late, which could be the tipper for Charix to actually win this game, because the Wood Elf force is literally just camping in the trees right now. Maybe having Blade Wind on deck is not so bad right now. Yeah, Blade Wind is his counter to the counterplay. But can he actually make use of Blade Wind? So there's a second Loic's Blessing. Charix is stalling for time. He's booking it. He's running for his life. And the Spellweaver of Dark is trying to get in there. Speed bonus from Loix gets her 119 speed. And she goes for the Blade Wind cast instead on the Tomb Guard. Blade Wind, pretty good damage. Gets about, what, is that 2 units of Tomb Guard? Like, what, 500 gold value? Honestly, not the worst. It's not the craziest amount, though. If you look at the damage to the Dryads, well, this is about a full Dryad's worth. In general, that is a good trade, but is it really enough? So not a second Doom Bolt. He actually opts against it because Charix bought an Omega counter to it. And at this point, the 2 minutes are almost up on his cooldown, which is going, it's just gonna hard counter it, right? Yo, honestly, I think Charix does better when Doombolt. If Doombolt is unbanned, I swear Charix does better because everyone brings Doombolt and then he just hard counters it. And then you get screwed. What else could have had Lore of Fire, right? No, they don't have Lore of Fire. They could have had, actually, I guess that's why they do bad versus Tomb Kings. What other lores do they have? They could have had healing. Could have gone for healing. I guess that's not that great either. Could have just stuck with only the Blade Wind. Doesn't Doombolt cost like 150 gold? So far, it's just 150 gold wasted. We're seeing a big summoning in, though. And now for the main plays. Now, has it been 2 minutes? The way Charix is playing, I think it has been. And he's playing pretty aggressively with this guy. Minor split to make sure that they don't die. Blade or War Dancers are getting shot up by the Ushapti, getting absolutely mulched. But the big fight is where it's going to be at. Now, Blade Wind goes down on the Skelly Warriors. Basically no value. Suffering a lot right now. The Spellweaver is expensive. Blessing of the Ancients, Doombolt, Blade Wind, and Loric's Blessing. That is a huge hit to the Wood Elf economy here. There's the Doombolt. Is he going to cast it? Is he going to cancel it? He might be waiting. Oh my gosh. Oh, the friendly fire! The friendly fire! Holy crap, look at the Doombolt friendly fire. What a play! He sends his units into melee to bait out the Dryads so that they get hit by the Doombolt. Holy crap! That's insane! Yeah, it's 11 wins of magic for Blade Wind. That's insane. I love it. What a god, dude. Charix is like, he laughs in the face of your OP spells. Oh my god, the Skull Storm. He's making use of Skull Storm of all spells, the one that nobody uses. He's actually getting mega value on it. This Lich Priest has 500 gold value. This Spellweaver has 800, but she costs like twice as much as this Lich Priest. This guy's so vanilla. He has 2 spells, the passive, and an item. Lady's on a horse. She has everything. Oh my god, there's the Usirens. Usirens on the... He's magic-wise, Charix is hard carrying right now. Charix is annihilating it magic-wise. This guy has 700, almost 800 gold value. And the Wild Hunters are getting annihilated. Ban Skull Storm. Holy Chariot Charge. Insane value. You know, whatever Charix does, he makes it look OP. There's the Tomb King's passive now, healing every single unit that's in combat, and everything is injured. So that is the maximum effectiveness of the Realm of Souls, which means that he is going to get insane value right now. 1 Chariot goes down, though. Although 600 value is not bad for it. The Zotes are getting focused by the Eyes of the Desert. And this is looking like a devastation. Absolute freaking devastation. Yeah, if anything, Charix is multitudes better than Doombolt. I would rather, you know, if I had to pick a player to get into a game, all right, one of them has access to Doombolt, the other one is Charix. Charix every day. There's another Skull Storm. Massive damage on the Dryads. Tomb Guard are holding out. Oh my god, it's just sticking on the Dryads. Honestly, not that much damage though, but it's not bad. As the Wood Elves are still down trading. It's a double cap, but they do have 1 point. Now, Wood Elves could potentially come back, but as the fight goes on, they're much more prone to getting terror routed. However, there's not a lot of terror causing units. He's stuck summoning in Nehekar Horsemen and Skeleton Horsemen. We'll have to see if they have the oomph to beat the Wood Elf infantry and or cavalry. As it stands, the Wild Riders are brutalized. They have 9 kills because, indeed, he did bring in the Incantation of Vengeance. So that's going to be hurting them a lot. These guys got annihilated by the Incantation of Vengeance, which is definitely way better in this situation. Over yonder, Eyes of the Desert, with the dampening effect on the Zotes. There's no physical resist though, so that doesn't really do that much. Oh, they are being dampened. Regardless, doesn't really matter. Zotes are going to route to their anti-large regardless. But there is a double cap. However, all the way over here, Tomb Kings are winning the fight with their superior infantry. The Tomb King, ultra cheap, ultra cheap, literally just does not care about anything. He's never going to die. He's just a permanent 3 capture weight. And even the Lich Priest is doing fairly well for himself. In the meantime, the Spellweaver of Dark is crying in the corner. She's on a unicorn. This is the most expensive Spellweaver of Dark ever. You kidding me? 1,000 gold value? That's hilarious. Absolutely freaking hilarious. After all you guys freaking out, man. Holy crap. There go the Wild Hunters. They're gone. Now, this is a terrible matchup for the Wood Elves, and it remains a terrible matchup, it seems. More data is obviously needed. More data is obviously needed, but what a devastation, man. What? He called it. Read him like a book, man. Read him just like a book. This point's gonna get captured soon, too. Skeleton Chariot, Tomb Guard, Charks has more money in the bank. And one more Zote gets summoned in. Now, I don't have to tell you that a Zote against the literal chosen of the gods and the eyes of the desert is going to be a bad time. Anti-large for days, right? Yeah, they got some physical resist, but it's gone now. It's going to take one volley. Oh, no, they're shooting at the other Zotes. Hey, maybe they hold. Eyes of the desert do magic range attacks, though, so technically they could shoot, but the kind of repositioning, will they get a volley off? Looks like, oh, barely not. The ranged buggery makes them kind of take way too long to shoot there. Did you guys see that? A little bit of range shenanigans. Maybe there was some cones going on there. There's some weird cone action. But yeah, no, it's a massacre. Still a bloody massacre. Skeleton Horsemen are holding up the Zotes. Great thing about these guys, they're effectively unbreakable, kind of Kislev style. So they do a really good job holding back units. And now the Eyes of the Desert are in position, using their magic attacks to pummel into those Zotes. And it's going to be a pretty painful time for them. Charge bonus versus large means that their charge will be pretty flaccid too. And even another Ushabti Greatbow. Dang, just really shutting down everything here. Really brutal. Yeah, nerf Wood Elves. Yo, Wood Elves are genuinely really good. It's just a handful of matchups that is super duper rough. Really well played though. I think Charix really showed the innovation there. He cooked. I've never seen that item too. And this is what I mean, man. That shakeup. That shakeup makes it so much more cool. That makes it so much better. Gotta love me some flaccid Zotes. Oh my god, dude. Dude, that's hilarious though. Oh my god. Yeah, so you gave it no targets, and then it was just Blade Storm, which honestly didn't do that well versus Ushabti. Blade Storm it's an okay spell. It's like a very B tier spell. This guy got 2,000 value though. Holy value. Yeah, just bring that magic resist. Yo, that kind of makes me wonder. What if you go for like Corn too? Congrats, Charix. Congrats on the Doom Bolt counter build win. All right. Let us see. Alrighty, so what we're looking at? Skirmish versus AI. So what? Corn also has that. I think it's on the Blood Reaper, is it? Yeah, they have Locus of Abjuration. Technically, Corn shouldn't have to worry about it if you run this guy. How much would it cost? 1,200. Okay, fighter. If this guy didn't suck so much, that would actually be really good. Does Grand Cathay have a thing? I guess Grand Cathay has they have Jade Shield, which kind of works. What if you're playing like Beastmen though, right? Oh, I guess Beastmen have Morgar if they're really, really worried about a Lord Snipe. Betonia has the Damsel with the Aura of the Lady and Scroll of Shielding. It's only one use though, so Betonia is a little bit weaker to it. Though if you run Lewin, you can use the Lion Shield, which is very nice. Do Chaos Dwarves have an answer though? Chaos Dwarves have a Demon Smith Sorcerer. I think Chaos Dwarves are way more susceptible to it, right? They don't really have any big counters. Oh, I guess you can just run a Lamassu. Isn't a Lamassu like... Yeah, it like halves the damage. Yeah, Betonia also has a Unicorn for their casters. Chaos Dwarves have a counter. Demons of Chaos can bring a Corrin character. Do Dark Elves have a counter? Let's take a look-see. Sorceress of Beasts. Not much, right? Scroll of Leeching. Greenskins have Grom, I guess. They have Grom the Paunch. Honestly, Greenskins just beat Wood Elves by just rushing them. Zinch has shields. Greenskins, honestly, when they're really afraid of getting Lord Sniped, this is what they do. They go for like this guy on foot. Just shove him in the corner, 430. I think he's the cheapest one you can take. It's not optimal though, right? If they always have to do that, it's definitely a little rough. Dark Elves just bring your own Doombolt. That's true, that's true. Empire, they do have, let's see, like Marcus would be a risky pick. Does this guy actually have a, his Divine Power? He has Grand Shield of Fate. Yeah, he doesn't have too much. It's interesting though. It'll vary from faction to faction. It's good to see. It's good to see. Empire have spell protection. Does this guy have a spell protection? I could have sworn one of them did. Scroll of Power, Benediction. If you're playing as Empire, what, you have Felix? No one's gonna run Felix Helping Hand, right? That would be hilarious, though. Felix Helping Hand, damage resist. That would be pretty hilarious. You ever play a Total War Arena? Nope. Let's see. Oh, does Ulrika have a counter? Does she have a spell counter? I guess here's the thing though, right? If you're playing Empire, you can counter Doombolt with Regrowth and like a Boris even. But like you can take a fairly tanky Lord or like an ultra cheap Lord like Marcus. And then if you have a Regrowth caster, then you're more or less fine. If you're like super worried about it, or you can bring a tankier Lord for Regrowth to be better. So like that, like, you know, once you start getting up to like the 3-4 Doombolt cast to kill a Lord, it gets kind of rough. Kislev's solution is the dumbest, but technically you can run Crystal Sanctuary and it will counter Doombolt. It's so dumb though. It's so dumb, but if you run Crystal Sanctuary, it will do well. Lizardmen have the shield and they have insane missile resist. Lizardmen do not have to care about it. I think Norska is definitely a rough one though. They've always had a hard time versus Lord Snipe. Though technically a Fimir Bale Fiend with a Scroll of Shielding can get 25% plus 25% plus 20. Oh my gosh, I just run a Fimir Bale Fiend as a hero. Your Lord is gonna get wrecked though. Though, if you put him on a Mammoth, they will basically not die. So you can do this to bring your Spellcaster into the field. Tank the first shot, 50% damage on the next couple shots. Interesting. Yeah. Find it weird that the anti-magic faction in... Oh, what's it? The anti-magic faction of the game is the one to get an anti-magic... Oh yeah, you're talking to someone else. Yo, you know what's really weird? Dwarves don't actually have that much anti-magic. I think dwarves have like one of the... Yeah, they really struggle at magic defense outside of their base magic resist. But they don't actually have like a counter spell. Unless you run Rune of Negation, but like nobody wants to run Rune of Negation. Slaanesh is definitely the weakest to Lord sniping. I think if you bring this guy, you can take the Soul Feeder to not die immediately. Oh, you know, technically they have the Rod of Torment, which is a lesser Doombolt. But yeah, they don't really have a lot of options. You can bring Sigvald if you're really, really worried about it. Also not exactly optimal. Tomb Kings we just saw. They have that spell. Yeah, not the worst. Does the Anvil of Doom do anything versus magic? I think it gives you... Okay, it gives you 40% spell resist. Okay. Nah, this is fine. It's basically a unicorn for dwarves. How about, Vampire? Vampire counts do have a counter. It's the Lamian Lord. She has the Scepter of Stability, 40%. Dude, like, most of the factions in the game have something to deal with Doombolt. Alright, just doing a little bit of extra stuff. Let's see, Warriors of Chaos is fine? Warriors of Chaos should be fine. Are they fine? I guess they have Bellacore with his resistance. Absolutely not. Erda, what's up? Thank you very much for the tier 1 sub. What about the rats? Yeah. There's always a few factions that just suck. Imagine though banning Doombolt because Skaven suck. Let's take a look. Skaven have had a problem versus like Fireball. You know what I really want to see? Let's see. Obviously, I'm straw manning when I say that, but I think it's just a funny thought. So here we go. If I go Skaven here, one of their counters is the Screaming Bell, has 50% resist. So if I go Dark Elves, Dark Magic, Doombolt Caster. Let's see, how does this go? I'm pretty sure the Bell is tanky enough, because you have to Doombolt like, what, 16,000 HP worth of damage, if you include the resistances. Let's see. So we go here and then do this. It's not bad. It's a good amount of damage. I don't think it's really like, I don't think it's super worth though, right? So get another one. So this is 2 Doom Bolts, gets him to 450, or I mean 4,500. If you use Spirit Leech, he doesn't benefit from the missile resist, right? So let me see. If you use a Lore of Death or something direct damage, how does that pan out? So let's say like, you know, 2 or like 3 Spirit Leeches. It's gonna take forever to kill him regardless. So in this case, the shock damage of Doom Bolt doesn't matter as much, but obviously it does matter, but let's see. Or to see he shun the rat so much, there's always gotta be some faction. So how fast can we get him to that amount of HP? So in this case, he'd only have 75% resist. So yeah, your Doom Bolt ends up being about as effective as Spirit Leech for sniping this type of Lord. It will take you a little bit longer to get it off, but I think yeah, it's about the same as Spirit Leech, right? Last Spirit Leech, Spirit Leech is slightly less effective actually. This is 14. Oh no, magic wise it's about the same. It's very similar, but yeah, if you don't want your Lord to die, always go for the bell. The bell is the way. Missile mirror doesn't work on Doom Bolt. The missile has to come out of the unit for it to actually reflect. It would be so funny though if you could missile mirror Doom Bolt, just like loops back, slams into their caster. But yeah, Skaven are fine. Vampire counts are fine. Vampire Coast have fewer options, I believe. I think the best you can do is like Opal Amulet on this lady, or like get Noctilus and just kind of try to out heal it. So if you take a foot Noctilus, I did try to snipe Noctilus that one time, and it ended up being a very slow process, but let's see. The bell gives you a ton of HP. It gives you 25% spell resist, and it gives you 25% missile resist. And Doom Bolt does count as a missile. All right, let's take a look. So if I just Doom Bolt him, he should heal himself, right? Yeah, so like you see how this would just take way too long to kill him? Like one heal and he's already quite patched up. And then I'm like, gotta kill him. Gotta kill him. And he just heals again. Yeah, like this would just be a complete waste of magic when you could use it for burning heads instead against Vampire Coast. I think you just straight up, you run Noctilus, you take Invocation of Nahek, and then he'll never die. His heal cap is like, yeah, he's already almost heal capped. I have 31 Winds of Magic left, so I have 2 more Doom Bolts. I would be using my entire Winds of Magic pool to kill him. So I think any healing faction, it's honestly like, dude, she's gonna die before Noctilus dies. This is hilarious. Yeah, honestly, I don't know. It's good, but it has enough counterplay where I would love to see it more, at least for now. Noctilus is very low HP, but he still tanked it like a Chad. And at 1500, it's a very low investment. You can still run Malkoths too. So you're spending like 100 gold to get the counterplay for Lord Snipe. But there will be a few factions that just will have a much harder time. And it will restrict your playstyle if you're really worried about it. So there's that. Anyways, I think that was good testing. I think there'll always be people that just don't like Doom Bolt on the basis of it being Doom Bolt. There's people that will always freak out, but as far as I can tell, if you bring it against Charks, you're gonna get dumpstered. You're gonna get bloody dumpstered. Oh, well, Maximilianer. In an actual game, I didn't even have Doombolt. I just bought like 5 Doomfire Warlocks, which suck, by the way, against Vampire Coast. Let me tell you, they are so bad. But yeah, no, I brought Marathi's Doombolt, and then, yeah. So, like, honestly, it would have been faster if I also had a Spirit Leecher. But, like, it's way too much. It starts getting excessive. In practice... we'll have to see. If you want to prove me wrong, play more matches. Clearly, if you're just good at the game, I think you win. But anyways, I had a fun time today. Have a great day, guys. Have a wonderful day. I will see you guys tomorrow for more matches. We got to try out some triple gold chevron men-at-arm polearms with Raponts. We got to try some Chowie blunderbusses, some Zinch War Shrine shenanigans. We got to do Skaven Death Globes and a Malice Dark Blade. It'll be fun. Have a great day. Peace. And thank you very much to our members. Clint, Terry, Tarkleby, Pops, Miss New Booty. And the Patreon supporters too. Kakulandia, Charlie, and Benjo.